Chapter 1087 Inviting Orofa. Upgrading the Territory. Upgrading the Gate of Summoning. 1087 Inviting Orofa. Upgrading the Territory. Upgrading the Gate of Summoning. The young man and young woman quickly walked over. "Greetings, Your Majesty," the two of them said respectfully, and led the way. "Jik Sealy, last time, I asked you if I could invite your god of sun and forging Orofa to join my blazing sun empire and work for me. How are things going now?" Jojo asked. He was still looking forward to the arrival of the god of forging. He lacked a heavenly god who could forge and repair divine artifacts to join his camp. Otherwise, how would he know how to use the god-tier materials in his hands? Once he obtains a divine artifact forger under him, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that his strength would increase by a good margin. Jik and Sealy looked at each other as soon as Jojo said that. Then, Sealy said generously, "Your Majesty, Jik and I have tried our best to persuade my grandfather to come to His Majesty's Blazing Sun Kingdom and pledge loyalty to His Majesty. But my grandfather said that firstly, he is now working for Your Excellency Regal Great Solar, so it's not easy to change sides. Secondly, my grandfather also said that Regal Great Solar and Regal Great Lunar have clearly ordered his subjects not to allow any of their subjects to join the current Lord of All Races contest. So even my grandfather couldn't leave the sun for long enough to remain in His Majesty's kingdom and serve His Majesty. Perhaps in the future, when the Lord of All Races tournament enters the middle and late stages, my grandfather they might be able to leave the Sun Star and join His Majesty's Lord's camp to serve His Majesty." Jojo nodded thoughtfully. It seemed that for some reason, the existences of Regal Great Solar and Regal Great Lunar did not want to participate in the Lord War for the time being. Was it because it was too early? He speculated inwardly. After thinking for a while, he didn't think too much about it since he hadn't come up with an answer. He changed the topic and asked, "It's also a problem that Your Excellency Orofa can't come to this king's country to serve. Since he can't leave the Sun Star for a long time, can he accept some business? For example, restoring true god-tier divine artifacts or pseudo-race divine artifacts. This way, he doesn't have to leave the Sun Star for too long. He can take the damaged true god-tier divine artifacts or pseudo-race divine artifacts from me and bring them back for repair. After the repairs are completed, he can send someone to send them back. In terms of remuneration, I won't let Your Excellency Orofa suffer a loss." "That's fine." Sealy's eyes lit up and she nodded. "When my grandfather was working for Your Excellency Regal Great Solar, he often took on private jobs. There shouldn't be a problem with His Majesty's invitation." Jik, who was beside him, also nodded. "All right." Jojo nodded and uttered with a smile. "In that case, reach out Your Excellency Orofa first. Tell him that I have a damaged true god-tier divine artifacts that I wish to ask he to repair. Apart from the pseudo-racial divine artifacts, I also have a large number of slightly worn-out divine artifacts. If he is willing to repair them, I would also like to ask he for help. As for the price of repairs, I unquestionably won't let Your Excellency Orofa suffer a loss." "Yes, Your Majesty. After Junior Brother and I return, we'll immediately contact my grandfather." Sealy's eyes brightened, and she nodded vigorously. Jojo nodded. Then the two of them left. He didn't stop after that. He flew out of the Divine Kingdom world and arrived above the Blazing Sun Kingdom. He looked down at the Blazing Sun Kingdom below. With a thought, he chose to upgrade his territory. Accompanied by 8,000 trillion units of basic materials, 50,000 legendary tier mist cores, 2 billion origin crystals, 20 billion basic elemental gems, 6 billion high-level elemental gems, and 3 legendary tier territory tokens, they disappeared. A text notification appeared. "Congratulations, your legendary tier elementary grade blessed land has successfully advanced to a legendary tier intermediate grade blessed land. Your territory has been successfully upgraded to a legendary tier elementary grade territory. Your legendary tier elementary grade 9 refinement divine transformation formation has been upgraded to the legendary tier 9 refinement divine transformation formation. Durability of territory stone tablet increased to 500 billion/500 billion. Your territory has expanded to 20 million kilometers x 20 million kilometers x 100,000 kilometers. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, basic building blueprint treasure chest, yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Lord Talent notification. Your Scarlet Brood Mother can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Lives shelter has increased. Zhou acknowledged in satisfaction. It had finally been upgraded to a legendary territory. Then, he looked at the material requirements for the territory to be upgraded to legendary tier advanced grade. Construction upgrade. 1,000 trillion units of wood, 1,000 trillion units of fine sand, 1,000 trillion units of metal, 1,000 trillion units of stone, 10,000 legendary tier mist core, 1 billion origin crystals, 10 billion units of basic elemental gems, 1 billion units of thunder element gems, 1 billion units of life elemental gems, 1 billion units of death elemental gems, 1 legendary tier city, 100 legendary tier lifestyle professionals, 1,000 legendary tier military professionals, 100 race heroes, 1 legendary tier territory order. Zhou took a glance and shook his head regretfully. Among these upgrade resources, the vast majority had already met the advancement requirements. However, the life elemental gems and death elemental gems were still lacking. He looked at his king's treasure box. He saw that there were more than 500 million life elemental gems and more than 1 billion death elemental gems in his king's treasure box. He still needed more than 4 billion life elemental gems and more than 9 billion death elemental gems to gather the requirements to upgrade to the legendary tier advanced grade. 2 or 3 more Shadow Clan level battles should be able to gather the requirements to upgrade the territory. Zhou calculated in his heart and realized that it was not too difficult. Then he stopped thinking and went straight to the Gate of Summoning. He spent 40 trillion units of basic materials and 2,000 legendary tier mist cores to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to the legendary level. A text notification appeared. Congratulations! Your Gate of Summoning has been successfully upgraded to a legendary tier elementary grade building. Less than or equal to, you can summon 20,000 subjects every day. You will summon 1,009 professionals every day. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer 8, you can summon 139,500 subjects every day. You will summon 1,009 professionals every day. After reading it, Zhou acknowledged slightly. The basic number of subjects summoned by the Gate of Summoning was 15,500. After adding 20,000, it was 35,500. After being buffed by the Glory of the Pioneer 8, it directly increased by 8 times, becoming 284,000 people. It's okay. Zhou did not care about this improvement and directly looked at the upgrade requirements. Construction upgrade. 20 trillion units of wood, 20 trillion units of fine sand, 20 trillion units of metal, 20 trillion units of stone, 5,000 pieces of legendary tier mist core, territory level upgraded to legendary tier advanced grade. After memorizing it, Zhou returned to the Divine Kingdom and called Bai Yun and Carol Moeli over. Zhou took out 1 billion green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments before they came. Today, his gains from the green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragment alone were enough to upgrade a legendary tier Lord Talent to the mythical tier unique Lord Talent. Naturally, he would not forget such a thing, so he planned to upgrade it instantaneously and give it a try. Chapter 1088 Mythical Tier. The Only Lord Talent Supreme Conquest 1. Zhou took out 1 billion green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments and fused them into a mythical tier 1 and only Lord Talent origin divine crystals without another word. Then, he looked at his mini Lord Talents. After looking at it for a long time, his gaze finally landed on one of the inconspicuous extraordinary tier Lord Talents. It was the Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror. Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror, Extraordinary Tier. B0XO. Calm, Embrace of the Conqueror. 1. Every time a lord conquers a territory, he can attract a different number of classless subjects to join his territory. 2. Every time a lord conquered a regional territory, he could attract a different number of professional subjects to join his territory. 3. Every time a lord conquered a kingdom, he could obtain the loyalty of 3 heroes with the Extraordinary Tier Hero Fate level slot, 2 heroes with the Epic Tier Hero Fate level slot, and 1 hero with the Legendary Tier Hero Fate level slot. 4. Every time a lord conquered an empire, he could obtain the loyalty of 3 heroes with the Low-Tier Deity level, and 1 hero with the Mid-Tier Deity level Hero's Fate level. 5. Every time a lord conquers a divine kingdom, he can obtain the loyalty of 3 heroes with the True God Tier Hero Fate level. This Lord Talent can be upgraded. Zhou touched his chin. In fact, he didn't lack heroes under him. However, who would complain about having too many heroes? Moreover, this was clearly a growth-type Lord Talent. The more territories and countries he conquered, the more heroes he could obtain. In addition, he was currently in a period of rapid expansion. Every day, he would conquer one race after another. Just the heroes he could obtain now could reach nearly 1,000 every day. If he upgraded it to the mythical tier, Unique Lord Talent, the number of heroes he obtained every day would be extremely shocking. The earlier I improve, the greater my gains. The later I level up, the smaller the gains. This is it. Without any hesitation, Zhou took out 10 Epic Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments and fused them into an Epic Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystals. Then he raised this talent to the Epic Tier stage. Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror, Epic Tier. Embrace of the Conqueror. 1. Every time a lord conquers a territory, he can attract a different number of classless subjects to join his territory. 2. Every time a lord conquered a regional territory, he could attract a different number of professional subjects to join his territory. 3. Every time a lord conquered a kingdom, he could obtain the loyalty of 10 heroes with the Extraordinary Tier Hero Fate level, 5 heroes with the Epic Tier Hero Fate level, 3 heroes with the Legendary Tier Hero Fate level, and 1 hero with the Low-Tier Deity level Hero Fate level. 4. Every time a lord conquered an empire, he could obtain the loyalty of 5 heroes with the Low-Tier Deity level, 3 heroes with the Mid-Tier Deity level, and 1 hero with the High-Level God Tier Fate level. 5. Every time a lord conquers a divine kingdom, he can obtain the loyalty of 5 heroes with the True God Tier Hero Fate level, and 1 True God Elementary Grade God Spirit. Zhou's eyes lit up. Was there such a huge improvement after advancing to the Epic Tier realm? Especially after conquering a divine kingdom. In addition to the loyalty of 5 heroes with the Fate level of True God Tier heroes, there was actually a true God who joined them. Finally, it wasn't just for heroes. He was looking forward to it. Then, he took out the only 10 Legendary Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments and fused them into a Legendary Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystals, raising this talent to the Legendary Tier level again. Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror, Legendary Tier. Embrace of the Conqueror. 1. Every time a lord conquers a territory, he can attract a different number of classless subjects to join his territory. 2. Every time a lord conquered a regional territory, he could attract a different number of professional subjects to join his territory. 3. Every time a lord conquered a kingdom, he could obtain the loyalty of 20% of the subjects in the kingdom. Furthermore, he would attract 10 Extraordinary Tier life forms with the Extraordinary Tier Hero Fate level, 5 Epic Tier life forms with the Epic Tier Hero Fate level, 3 Legendary Tier life forms with the Legendary Tier Hero Fate level, and 1 Low-Tier God Spirit with the Low-Tier Deity level Hero Fate level to follow him. 4. Every time a lord conquered an empire, he could obtain the loyalty of 20% of the subjects in the empire. Moreover, he would attract 10 Low-Tier God Spirits with the Low-Tier Deity level Hero Fate level, 5 Mid-Tier Deity level God Spirits with the Mid-Tier Deity level Hero Fate level, and 3 heroes with the High-Level God Tier Fate level to follow him. 5. Every time a lord conquers a divine kingdom, he can obtain the loyalty of 20% of the subjects in the divine kingdom. Moreover, he will attract 5 true God elementary grade God spirits with the true God tier hero fate level to follow him. Zhou's eyes lit up. The legendary tier embrace of the conqueror could actually directly obtain the loyalty of 20% of the subjects in the conquered territory. Moreover, the heroes they attracted were no longer people with potential, but powerhouses who had reached the limit of their potential. When conquering a divine kingdom, it could directly attract 5 true God tiers to follow it. One of the requirements for establishing an elementary divine kingdom was to have 3 true God tier worshippers. After conquering a divine kingdom, he could actually obtain the support of 5 true God tiers. This did not include the true gods who had conquered the country. Oh my god! The more Zhou read, the more shocked he became. As the grade of this lord talent increased, the effect became more and more ridiculous. Furthermore, it was a perfect match for his 10,000 Spirit Saint Lord talent. He had used the 10,000 Spirit Saint before the war. After winning the war, the embrace of the conqueror would be effective. He didn't even need to use the Lord talent of the peaceful times to take in at least 70% of the subjects in the conquered places. This is only the legendary tier Lord talent. If I advance to the mythical tier, unique level. At this thought, Zhou took the mythical tier 1 Lord talent origin divine crystals and upgraded embrace of the conqueror to the mythical tier 1. Lord talent, supreme conquest, mythical tier, unique. Supreme conquest. 1. Every time a lord conquers a territory, all the subjects in that territory will automatically pledge their loyalty to you. After that, you will generate a certain amount of prestige in the nearby territory. You can attract the subjects of the nearby domain, including but not limited to professionals, heroes, god spirits, and so on, giving them a chance to affiliate your territory. 2. Every time a lord vanquishes a territory, all the subjects in the domain will automatically pledge their faithfulness to you. After that, you will generate a certain amount of prestige in the nearby territory. You can draw the people of the nearby domain, including but not limited to professionals, heroes, god spirits, and so on, giving them a chance to affiliate your territory. Chapter 1089 Mythical Tier. The Only Lord Talent, Supreme Conquest 2-3. Every time the Lord conquers a kingdom, all the subjects in the territory of the kingdom will automatically pledge their loyalty to you. After that, you will generate a certain amount of prestige in the nearby territory. You can attract the subjects of the nearby territory, including but not limited to professionals, heroes, god spirits, and so on, giving them a chance to join your territory. In addition, you will also attract 20 epic tier life forms with the epic tier hero fate level from the outside world, 10 legendary tier life forms with the legendary tier hero fate level, 3 low tier deity level life forms with the low tier hero fate level, 2 mid tier deity level god spirits with the mid tier deity level hero fate level, and 1 high level god spirit with the high level god tier fate level to pledge loyalty to you. 4. Every time a lord conquers an empire, all the subjects in the empire's territory will automatically pledge their loyalty to you. After that, you will generate a certain amount of prestige in the nearby territory. You can attract the subjects of the nearby territory, including but not limited to professionals, heroes, god spirits, and so on, giving them a chance to join your territory. In addition, you will also attract 50 legendary tier life forms with the legendary tier hero fate level, 20 low-tier deity level life forms with the low-tier hero fate level, 10 mid-tier deity level life forms with the mid-tier deity level hero fate level, 5 high-level god spirits with the high-level god tier fate level, and 1 true god tier hero fate level elementary grade god spirit to serve you. B0XO. Com 5. Every time a lord conquers a divine kingdom, all the subjects in the territory of the divine kingdom will automatically pledge their loyalty to you. After that, you will have a certain amount of prestige in the myriad worlds. You can attract living beings from the myriad worlds, including but not limited to professional subjects, heroes, god spirits, and so on, giving them a chance to join your territory. In addition, you will also attract 100 low-tier deity-level life forms from the outside world, with the low-tier heroic hero's fate level of the low-tier deity level, 50 mid-tier deity-level life forms with the mid-tier deity-level heroic hero's fate level of the mid-tier deity-level heroic hero's fate level of the mid-tier deity-level life form of the mid-tier deity level, 20 high god-tier life forms with the high-level god-tier hero's fate level of the high-level god-tier hero-tier heroic fate level, 10 true god elementary grade god spirits with the true god tier, heroic fate level of the true god elementary grade god spirit, 5 true god intermediate grade god spirits, with the true god heroic fate level of the true god intermediate grade god spirit, and 1 true god elementary grade god spirit, with the true god heroic fate level of the true god advancement of the fate level. A master god tier elementary grade god spirit will appreciate your conquest. When you and your country are in danger, this master god tier elementary grade god spirit will help you and your country once. Zhou carefully looked at this Lord talent and could not help but be shocked. Mythical tier, unique level embrace of the conqueror. Not only did its talent name become Supreme Conqueror, but even its ability had been super strengthened on the basis of the legendary tier. Now, after conquering a territory, the Supreme Conquest could actually make all the subjects in the other party's territory swear loyalty to him. It was really a win-win situation. Moreover, after winning the Battle of Conquest, he could also obtain the loyalty of a large number of experts from the outside world. Just conquering a kingdom could obtain the loyalty of 6 ordinary god spirits from the outside world. Conquering an empire would allow him to obtain the allegiance of 35 ordinary god spirits and 1 true god tier. And conquering a divine kingdom was even more ridiculous. He could directly obtain the loyalty of 170 ordinary god spirits and 16 true god tiers. In addition, he would also obtain a chance for a low-level master god tier master to attack on behalf of him and his territory. This is ridiculous. Zhou was extremely shocked. He did some mental calculations and was a little stunned. Now that he had conquered a race like the Shadow Clan, it was equivalent to conquering at least 10 empires and more than 300 kingdoms of this race. Which meant, if he took down another Shadow Clan level race tomorrow, other than the 10,000 Spirit Saints Insight Defection experts, he would be able to obtain the allegiance of about 10 true god tiers and about 2,000 ordinary god spirits from the outside world the next day. This was only a fixed gain. This did not include the number of experts that would be attracted by the honor generated by conquering the people of foreign races. When Zhou thought of this, he could not help but open his mouth wide. He was at a loss, but he was also excited and surprised. He felt like he had been hit by a truckload of pies that had fallen from the sky. The embrace of the conqueror had an astonishing effect after being upgraded to the mythical tier. He didn't expect it to be so powerful. Him taking off, Zhou thought. To him, this Lord talent came at the right time. This was because he did not want to fight a Divine Kingdom Lord faction for the time being. It would be meaningless for a Kingdom level and below Lord faction to fight. As for the Empire level Overlord faction, he could easily defeat it now. He could completely obtain huge benefits from this Lord talent. After consuming 1 billion green bronze tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 10 epic tier Lord talent crystal fragments, and 10 legendary tier Lord talent crystal fragments, he was left with 2,156,522 black iron tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 480,044,859 green bronze tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 9,239 white silver tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 5,895 yellow gold tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 1,600 white platinum tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 355 diamond tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 12 extraordinary tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 7 epic tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 0 legendary tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 0 mythical tier unique Lord talent crystal fragment. If Uriel brings an army to ambush me tomorrow, I might be able to gather a mythical tier 1 and only Lord talent origin divine crystals. Zhou nodded slightly. As for which Lord Talent to upgrade, he already had a rough idea. At this moment, Aaliyah's voice sounded outside the hall. Your Majesty, Lady Carol Moali and Lord Zheng request an audience. Let them in, Zhou said. Yes, Your Majesty. Carol Moali and Zheng Fuguei came in. Greetings, Your Majesty. The two of them stated respectfully and led the way. Zhou nodded and said, Mugu, come too. Strands of scarlet aura appeared beside Carol Moali and gradually condensed into Mugu's former human figure. Greetings, Your Majesty, Mugu stated respectfully. Then, he stated apologetically to Carol Moali and Zheng Yuanqi. I'm sorry my main body can't come, so I can only stand with you in this form. It's fine. Zheng Fuguei chuckled. Carol Moali nodded in understanding. Tell me about your growth. Zhou smiled. The three of them nodded. Chapter 1090 Lord Talent's Substitute. 1090 Lord Talent's Substitute. After hearing Zhou's words, Mugu was naturally the first to step forward and respectfully said, Your Majesty, let me introduce it first. Firstly, in terms of my strength, the Scarlet Brood Mother, that am currently in has already been upgraded to the legendary level. The number of Mist Mothers evolved from the legendary Scarlet Brood Mother has increased from 10,000 to 15,000. Each Mist Mother world can now nurture 20 million fog monsters. 15,000 Mist Mothers can nurture a total of 300 billion fog monsters. Other than that, the quality and efficiency of cultivating high-quality Scarlet Heirs has also increased. Currently, I can at most nurture a low-tier deity-level intermediate-grade Scarlet God Spirit. This process will take about 3 days. If I want to nurture a low-tier deity-level elementary-grade Scarlet God Spirit, it will only take about 2 days. Zhou nodded and asked, I remember that if you want to nurture such a God Spirit-level Scarlet Descendant, you have to sacrifice the number of ordinary Scarlet Fog monsters to do so, right? Yes, Your Majesty. Mugu nodded. Forget it then. Zhou waved his hand. There's no need to create a Scarlet God Spirit for the time being. I'll just focus on creating ordinary fog monsters. In fact, he no longer lacked ordinary God Spirits below the true God tier. Especially since he had the Lord Talent of Supreme Conquest, a top-notch war recruitment type. He didn't need it. Not to mention a low-tier deity-level God Spirit. Therefore, instead of spending time and resources to nurture low-level God Spirits, it was better to focus on creating ordinary fog monsters and recruit soldiers through the recruitment books and class change certificates dropped by the ranch monsters. In the end, through sharpening the soldiers, God Spirits would be born quickly. Yes, Your Majesty, Mugu said respectfully. Zhou nodded and thought for a moment before saying, Of your 15,000 Mist Mothers, 3,000 are left behind to nurture mechanical fear falcons, iron-eating bears and withered trees. As for the other 12,000 Mist Mothers, 6,000 will be used to nurture the violent storm demon spirit. The other 6,000 will be used to nurture the yellow talisman Dao soldiers. As such, tomorrow, he would be able to obtain 360 billion yellow talisman Dao soldier recruitment books, 360 billion yellow talisman Dao soldier class change certificate, 360 billion violent storm spirit recruitment books, and 360 billion violent storm spirit class change certificate. If they use both the recruitment books and the class change certificate, he would have an additional 480 billion troops tomorrow. There were only 46 trillion soldiers under his command, excluding the soldiers of the Star Alliance. Which meant he could recruit the total number of troops he had now just by recruiting new recruits tomorrow. It would be nearly 3 trillion. Moreover, these nearly 3 trillion soldiers would all be Empire-level soldiers. There was not even a second-rate kingdom-level soldier type. Exaggeration. This is too exaggerated. When Zhou thought of this result, he could not help but sigh. This was simply recruiting a total number of elementary Divine Kingdom soldiers in a day. When Uriel comes tomorrow, he'll use such troops to give he a huge surprise. Zhou thought to himself. At this moment, after Mugu finished speaking, he left on his own accord. Then he saw Zheng Fuguei walking out. Your Majesty, The number of mysterious merchants has increased from 5 million to 10 million. The number of carriages transporting goods has also increased to 10 million. In addition, the strength of all the mysterious merchant has also increased to the legendary level. The dimensional space inside each mysterious merchant's dimensional ring has also been greatly improved. If all of our mysterious merchant members advance to low-tier deity level elementary grade, the dimensional rings of every mysterious merchant should be upgraded to small world rings that can accommodate the goods of an entire small world. In the end, our treasure hunting ability has also improved again. In the future, when we go out to do business, we should be able to bring back at least 10 treasures at a time. Zheng Fuguei reported respectfully. Sure. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Every mysterious merchant had a small world ring. Just the 10 million mysterious merchant had 1,000 small world rings. Not to mention that after reaching the low-tier deity level elementary grade, the number of mysterious merchant would definitely increase greatly. What was the concept of a small world ring with tens of millions of levels? Even the super chambers of commerce among the Divine Kingdom lords would not be so generous. At that time, the mysterious caravan would probably be a first-rate chamber of commerce in the entire high continent, even if it was not the top chamber of commerce. With a chamber of commerce of this level in hand, the trade volume of his blazing sun kingdom would definitely increase by several levels, greatly increasing the kingdom's finances. It seemed that he had to work harder to raise his territory to the low-tier deity level elementary grade. Zhou Zhou sighed inwardly. At this moment, Zheng Fuguei took 2 steps back and returned to his original position. Carol Moeli stood up. Your Majesty, after the realm was upgraded to the legendary level, the shelter of the Goddess of Life already has 5 billion clergymen, 5 billion priests, 5 billion nuns, and 50 billion holy knights of life. These clergymen are enough to complete the battle treatment mission and resurrect the war with 300 billion troops. As for my strength, I'm still at the true god tier elementary grade. I haven't improved yet. Zhou Zhou nodded. Carol Moella's strength could only be improved when her realm was upgraded to the low-tier deity level elementary grade, which he had told her last time. The only thing that made he feel a little regretful was that the number of clergymen in the shelter of the Goddess of Life could no longer meet his current needs for battle treatment and resurrection. The need for war treatment was still manageable. There were many high-level doctors in his territory that could satisfy his immediate treatment needs. The key was the resurrection mission. The total number of his force's subsequent day would reach nearly 3 trillion. This had already far exceeded the upper limit of the resurrection ability of these clergymen. Improving the shelter of the Goddess of Lives Lord Talent's grade is urgent. Zhou Zhou pondered to himself. Thankfully, he had yet to encounter a powerful enemy that could destroy his 3 trillion soldiers. Even if they faced Uriel tomorrow, with their huge military advantage, the final casualties should not be too great. These clergymen from the shelter of the Goddess of Life should be able to hold on for a while. In 2 days, I possess to raise the Lord Talent of the shelter of the Goddess of Life to the mythical tier. Unique level. It's the only way to relieve the pressure of resurrection. Zhou Zhou made up his mind. Then, he chatted with the 3 of them for a while about the specific details of the upgrade of the Lord Talent. After he understood more or less, he let the 3 of them leave and prepare for tomorrow's war. Just as he was about to head to the Reincarnation Sacred Palace to comprehend the Lord's laws, Aaliyah's respectful voice sounded outside the hall again. Your Majesty, His Excellency True God Tier Xian Mei requests an audience. Zhou Zhou was stunned. True God Tier Xian Mei? The true god tier of the Blood Moon clan, who was captured today and surrendered later? Let him in. Zhou Zhou asked. Yes, Your Majesty. Aaliyah uttered respectfully. A true god tier of the Blood Moon clan, who was completely white and naked except for a beautiful and strange blood-colored crescent moon between his eyebrows, walked over leisurely. Your subject, Xian Mei, greets Your Majesty. True god tier Xian Mei's voice was filled with endless charm. Chapter 1091 Blood Moon Clan. Hatred. 1091 Blood Moon Clan. Hatred. What's the matter? Zhou Zhou asked directly. Your Majesty, I have important information to report. Actually, when the Shadow Clan gathered the people of foreign races allies and prepared to deal with His Majesty together, the upper echelons of the Blood Moon Clan's true god tier were doing the same thing almost at the same time. Currently, they should have already gathered trillions of troops and at least 30 true god tiers. Furthermore, they have already finished gathering. If it was in the past, with such troops and the number of true god tier, they would have attacked immediately. The reason why they didn't attack, and even sent me to the Shadow Clan to deal with His Majesty together, is mainly because the upper echelons of the Blood Moon Clan are very afraid of His Majesty. They even feel that with such troops and true god tier, they don't have a treasure that is 100% certain of winning against His Majesty. That's why they want to use the Shadow Clan to see His Majesty's power. Now that His Majesty's power has been revealed, the Blood Moon Clan will definitely be even more careful when they see the Shadow Clan being defeated so tragically. They will only lead all the soldiers, heroes, god spirits, and even all the trump cards of the Blood Moon Clan to attack His Majesty's territory after they are prepared to definitely win. Your Majesty, you should be prepared. True God Tier Xianmei said worriedly. I understand. Zhou Zhou smiled faintly. He was really facing many enemies. Uriel's side, the remnants of the people of Foreign Race Alliance gathered by the Shadow Clan, and the Blood Moon Clan side that had appeared. Not to mention the countless lords and people of foreign races who were secretly spying on him. They were like ferocious beasts waiting for an opportunity to attack. Once they revealed any weakness, these fellows would probably pounce on he, without hesitation, and bite he to death. But so what? He was no longer as timid as from before now that his wings had grown in the high continent. Come on. What's there to be afraid of? Zhou Zhou was calm and fearless. When true God Tier Xianmei saw that Her Majesty was still indifferent after she said it, the worry in her heart magically gradually dissipated, and she inexplicably calmed down. If Your Majesty wants to have a life-and-death battle with the Blood Moon Clan one day, I will definitely die for Your Majesty. True God Tier Xianmei said firmly. No. Zhou Zhou shook his head when he heard that. If the Blood Moon Clan attacks, you can choose to avoid the battle. I won't blame you. But Your Majesty, I'm a member of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. How can I avoid the battle in the face of a great war? True God Tier Xianmei was stunned. She didn't expect His Majesty to forbid her from fighting. Although this would make her feel much more relaxed, it would go against the path of a minister. He immediately said, a mere Blood Moon Clan doesn't pose much of a threat to me. To be honest, whether you go to the battlefield or not doesn't affect my battle situation much. If you go, you might even leave a knot in your heart. In the future, it might become a stumbling block to prevent you from becoming a higher-level god spirit. Furthermore, I already know about your loyalty. You don't need to prove your sincerity in this way. You'd better not go to the battlefield tomorrow. If you want to go to the battlefield, there will be many opportunities in the future. There's no need to be entangled in this battle. Zhou Zhou shook his head. True God Tier Xianmei fell silent. Spots of starlight fell from the starry sky outside the palace and landed on the other party's body, making the already beautiful god spirit look almost unreal. You can go down first and think about it, Zhou Zhou said. Yes, Your Majesty. True God Tier Xianmei nodded and left. When he walked out of Blazing Sun Palace, he turned to look at the towering and majestic palace in front of him. He recalled everything he had experienced in his life. Finally, the look in his eyes gradually became firm. Following that, he resolutely walked in the direction he had come from. In the Blazing Sun Palace, Zhou Zhou didn't think too much about True God Tier Xianmei. He left the Blazing Sun Palace and walked to the Reincarnation Sacred Palace in the Divine Kingdom. He entered the time world and transformed into an ordinary elemental life form. He began to comprehend his Lord's laws. And just as he was comprehending the Lord's laws, the outside world became chaotic. The Blood Moon Clan. Blood Moon Wilderness. This was the territory of the Blood Moon Clan. A blood moon hung high in the pitch-black night sky. Other than this blood moon and the surrounding 2,000 stars, there were no other stars in this black starry sky. A large number of Blood Moon clansmen knelt on the ground and raised their heads to look at the blood moon. The blood-colored moonlight shone on their bodies, and their expressions were filled with piety. The 12 true god-tiers of the Blood Moon clan gathered here on the blood moon. The leading true god-tier of the Blood Moon clan had blood red fur all over his body, and his eyes were also blood red. The blood moon on his forehead had also turned black red. He dropped his head and his divine body trembled faintly. From time to time, he would let out a low growl. The Blood Moon clan true god-tier present looked at this true god-tier, and could not help but reveal a hint of fear in their eyes. At this moment, another Blood Moon clan true god-tier beside the Blood Moon clan true god stated calmly, "You've all seen Uriel's invitation. What do you have in mind? What else do you have in mind?" A true god-tier advanced grade Blood Moon clan said coldly, "Of course it's a rejection. There's an indelible hatred between the titans behind Uriel and the Blood Moon clan. Back then, if the master god-tier of the titans hadn't killed our Blood Moon clan's patriarch, our Blood Moon clan would still be a top-notch bloodline clan with a master god-tier overseeing it. Anyone from the outside world who saw us would have to address us respectfully as members of the Blood Moon clan. But everything changed after the titans killed our ancestor. The Blood Moon God clan has already become the Blood Moon clan. The old ancestor has become the dead moon beneath our feet. Such an unprecedented grudge has already enveloped our Blood Moon clan for hundreds of thousands of years. How can we forget it? You want an alliance? Dream on. Jackie, another Blood Moon clan true god-tier frowned and said, "That was a long time ago. Furthermore, have you ever thought that if we don't join forces with Uriel now, the increasingly powerful common people's regal and his blazing sun kingdom will definitely become our great enemy one day, and a great enemy right in front of us? We have to eliminate the danger in the cradle." Xiandu, you make it sound so nice. Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. Another Blood Moon clan true god-tier below the true god-tier chuckled and stated sarcastically, "Aren't you eager to destroy the common people's regal and save your daughter because your daughter, true god Xian Mei, fell into the hands of that common people's regal? Who doesn't know what you're thinking? I'm doing this for the sake of our race." Xiandu retorted angrily, "Who knows what you're thinking?" The Blood Moon clan true god-tier stated indifferently, "We still have to work together. The common people's regal has grown too quickly. Although Uriel is a member of our enemy's clan, he can't threaten us for the time being. But the common people's regal is a troublesome enemy. He has already exterminated the Shadow clan. Next, he will definitely target our race, and the other Ghost clan, Rakshasa clan, and Heaven Hidden clan, who previously prevented humans from retreating to the primordial world. I won't be at ease if I don't kill him." Another handsome male Blood Moon clan true god-tier, at the intermediate grade of the true god-tier, stated in a deep voice, "I'm still worried about Uriel." Another female Blood Moon clan true god-tier shook her head and objected, "We have to deal with the common people's regal first. Uriel can think about it later." "Think about it? How long have you been thinking about it? Don't lie to yourself. We've long lost the courage to deal with the titans. It's been like this since the old ancestor." "What do you mean?" Just as the true god-tiers of the Blood Moon clan were about to flare up, the blood-red Blood Moon clan leader finally raised his head and looked at the Blood Moon clan gods with his crazy blood-red eyes. He spoke, but the voice was overlapping. One of them was young and in pain, while the other was old and quiet. Moreover, it was obvious that an old and serene voice dominated the conversation. "Join Uriel. Join Uriel. Kill the common people's regal. Kill the common people's regal," he said. "Yes, old ancestor." The true god-tiers of the Blood Moon clan were shocked, and immediately stood up to speak respectfully. The Blood Moon clan leader nodded with some struggle. Then he dropped his head again. His divine physique trembled again, as if he was enduring great pain. Chapter 1092 The Great Tribulation of the Common People's Regal? Uriel's Terrifying Military Force. 1092 The Great Tribulation of the Common People's Regal? Uriel's Terrifying Military Force. Heaven-Chasing Kingdom. At this moment, the heaven-chasing lord was in his palace, meditating with his eyes closed. Rays of different nomological laws flickered on his body. It looked like there were more than 2,000 nomological laws. All kinds of laws appeared and disappeared as he breathed, giving he an inexplicable origin power. This made he look like an ultimate god king who had grasped endless laws. At this moment, a shepherd's god race member walked in. "Your Majesty, I just received the latest information about the common people's regal," he said respectfully. "Read it," the heaven-chasing lord said without opening his eyes. "Yes, Your Majesty." The shepherd's god race member began to read out the information they had gathered. This included the destruction of the Shadow Clan by the common people's regal, the abnormal movements of the People of Foreign Races Alliance Army, the abnormal movements of the Blood Moon Clan, and the movements of other forces. This information was not gathered by the intelligence personnel under the heaven-chasing lord, but by him, through the intelligence organization of the shepherd's god race behind him. Due to the supreme agreement, the shepherd's god race did not dare to blatantly make things convenient for the heaven-chasing lord. Hence, the shepherd's god race sold them to the heaven-chasing lord at a very expensive price. This was a reasonable and legal act in the supreme agreement, so neither party was punished. Just like how Zhou could use the true god-tier divine artifacts to hire human god spirits, and even true god tiers to fight for his blazing sun kingdom. Even though the price of purchasing this information was very high, in order to understand the common people's regal situation, heaven-chasing lord felt that everything was worth it. The shepherd's god race clansman finished his report after more than half an hour. The heaven-chasing lord also opened his eyes at this moment. He looked into the distance with mixed feelings. The current situation is as if common people's regal has become a terrifying vortex with extremely strong attraction. Countless lord factions in the huge high continent have actually become the stage and audience of the common people's regal. Lords of top-notch bloodline races like us have actually become his supporting characters. He muttered to himself. He felt both ridiculous and pathetic. However, as a top lord of all races, he quickly composed himself. In that case, wouldn't there be a great calamity for the common people's regal tomorrow? The heaven-chasing lord said. Yes. The shepherd's god race official nodded respectfully, his expression somewhat excited. Even if he waits until tomorrow, his strength will once again increase explosively. It will be very difficult for he to survive this calamity. The heaven-chasing lord nodded and murmured, "Common people's regal, you should be dead. If you're not dead, how can the lords and civilizations of the myriad races rest in peace?" In a high-tier deity-level regional territory about 5 trillion kilometers away from the blazing sun kingdom, spirit demon divine domain. In a high-tier deity-level regional territory about 5 trillion kilometers away from the blazing sun kingdom, spirit demon divine domain. In the main tent of the people of foreign races, Uriel and a group of true god tier from the people of foreign races were having a battle meeting about the sneak attack on the blazing sun kingdom tomorrow. When discussing the common people's regal in the meeting, the expressions and tone of the upper echelons of the people of foreign races present were somewhat complicated. When they first came to the high continent, they relied on their large number of troops and generals to have many experts. They didn't put the common people's regal in their eyes at all. He never expected that the common people's regal's strength would expand to such an extent in such a short period of time. Even races on the level of the Shadow Clan had been wiped out by the common people's regal. They had no choice but to temporarily expand their army, and even form an alliance with the former enemy races. Recalling all of this, they felt as dreamy and ridiculous as a dream. Will the Blood Moon Clan agree to our coalition request? At this moment, a true god tier of the people of foreign races said hesitantly, "Well, it's hard to judge." The other true god tier from the people of foreign races shook his head. He was not optimistic about the outcome of this alliance. The upper echelons of the people of foreign races present all knew that the titans behind Alliance Master Uriel had an indelible racial hatred with the Blood Moon Clan. With this level of hatred, even if they knew that the common people's regal was their true enemy, they probably wouldn't join forces with Uriel so easily. They will definitely do it, as long as the Blood Moon Clan is not stupid. a true God-tier intermediate-grade god spirit, who was also from the Titan gods like Uriel, took the initiative to speak when he saw that Uriel did not speak. There's no such thing as eternal hatred, only eternal survival and profit. If they don't join forces with us now, if we fail this time, with that common people's Regal's personality of taking revenge, what awaits them in the future will definitely be the end of their clan. They aren't stupid. Don't worry. The other true god-tiers hurriedly nodded. Regardless of whether they agreed or not, the true god-tiers of the people of foreign races present were unwilling to disagree with this true god-level expert from the Titan gods. Report. At this moment, a messenger from the people of foreign ethnicity rushed into the main tent and knelt on one knee. He quickly reported respectfully, "Reporting to your excellency, there's a new secret letter from the Blood Moon clan." With that, he took out a blood-red full moon from his one-time secret spatial equipment. When the true god-tiers of the people of foreign races saw this, they knew that it was the unique communication method of the Blood Moon clan. They immediately probed it with their divine consciousness and perused the news inside. A smile gradually appeared on the Titan true god-tier beside Uriel. The other true god-tiers of the people of foreign races also smiled very quickly. They appeared at each other, their faces filled with satisfaction and surprise. As expected, the leaders of the Blood Moon clan are not fools. They know that they should stand on our side at this time. If they aren't standing with us now, who else can they stand with? Ha ha ha. With the help of the Blood Moon tribe's trillions of soldiers and 100 true god-tiers, in addition to the trump cards we prepared, no matter how heaven-defying this common people's regal is, he will only die. Tomorrow we will definitely win. Victory! Victory! The true god-tiers of the people of foreign races laughed heartily after reading the secret letter sent by the Blood Moon clan agreeing to the alliance. They were filled with confidence for the battle tomorrow. At this moment Uriel, who had been sitting in the main seat with his eyes closed, slowly opened his eyes. I still have to be careful in tomorrow's battle. I have to make sure nothing goes wrong. We can't be careless. Don't forget that the opponent we're facing this time is the common people's regal, who is known to have never lost. Those who can obtain the title of regal are never simple. We can't underestimate him. He uttered slowly with a solemn expression. The true god-tiers of the people of foreign races were speechless. They did not expect their alliance master to be so careful, even though they already had such a huge advantage. However, the true god-tiers of the people of foreign races did not dare to refute and agreed respectfully. Are the remnants of the people of foreign races' allied army that the Shadow Clan gathered in place? How many soldiers, god spirits, and true god-tiers have come? Uriel asked the true god-tier beside him. Alliance Master, the remaining troops of the people of foreign races are all stationed around our coalition army. There are more than 350 billion soldiers, 612 god spirits, and 51 true god-tiers. The Titan true god-tier uttered respectfully, "Why are there so many missing?" Uriel felt that something was amiss and asked. Back then, the Shadow Clan gathered more than 800 billion people of foreign races, more than 6,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god-tiers. Why is there only so little left? Chapter 1093 Third Avatar. Zhou Tianming. 3 trillion soldiers. 1093 Third Avatar. Zhou Tianming. 3 trillion soldiers. Alliance Master. The Titan true god-tier hurriedly said. Apart from the reason for the Shadow Clan's destruction, when the remnants of the people of foreign races gathered their forces in the Blackstone Mountain region, the remnants of the Alliance had a disagreement over whether to continue attacking the Blazing Sun Kingdom, which led to an internal strife. After this internal strife, about 1/10 of the allied forces of the people of foreign races perished in the internal strife. 1/4 of the allied forces of the people of foreign races fled with their troops during the internal strife and returned to their own territories. Hence, only these soldiers of the people of foreign races, god spirits, and true god-tiers were left. If we hadn't extended an invitation to the remaining troops of the people of foreign races, I'm afraid the number of remaining troops of the people of foreign races would have only increased. Uriel sneered when he heard that. You're already afraid of battle before the battle even started. Low-level races are low-level races. They're all a motley crew. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of many true god tier present immediately turned a little ugly. This was because as members of the Uriel people of foreign races, many of them were actually from inferior races. They had only relied on their heaven-defying aptitude and opportunities to forcefully advance to the true god tier level after going through countless hardships. During this long period of time, they had received the disdain of many top bloodline life forms. Therefore, after hearing Uriel's words, they immediately felt that they had been poked in the sore spot. Uriel noticed the expressions of the true god tier present and knew that he had said something wrong. But so what? As the top genius of the Titans and the seed of the master god tier, he had the right to look down on these true god tier existences. Moreover, these fellows had attached themselves to him for the opportunity to advance to the higher true god tier, or even the master god tier level. As long as he grasped this point, no matter how dissatisfied they were, they would not dare to resist him. Apologize? Impossible. That would only weaken his aura and make these guys disloyal. Then, the true god tiers of the people of foreign races and Uriel discussed the specific plans and strategies for tomorrow's battle before the battle meeting ended. After the meeting ended, a small meeting between the 12 true god tiers of the people of foreign races from the inferior bloodline quietly began and ended very quickly. Time passed quickly. The next day, Zhou woke up from the time world. 10 years of bitter cultivation and a trace of enlightenment. It's still too difficult to rely on myself to comprehend the Lord Law skill. He shook his head with a bitter smile. Then, he looked to his side. He realized that Zhou Manage and Zhou Zhan had already disappeared. It was obvious that they had gone to deal with their own matters. Zhou smiled faintly when he saw this. Then, he checked the origin in his body and nodded. He muttered to himself, "The origin energy has been replenished. I can create a third clone now." He did not hesitate and immediately activated his talent, doppelganger technique. The next second, he felt half of the origin power in his body quickly flow out of his heart and gather in his hand, forming a ball of 9-colored origin power. Seeing this familiar scene, Zhou, who felt that his origin was empty, looked very calm. Then, the ball of light in his hand slowly condensed into a palm-sized Zhou. He jumped out of Zhou's hand. As he landed on the ground, he rapidly grew in size. By the time he landed on the ground, and was already the size of Zhou. "Hello, main body," the clone said. Zhou nodded. "From today onwards, your name will be Zhou Tianming." Zhou said. "Sure." Zhou Tianming agreed. "What do you want me to do?" When Zhou heard this, he was already prepared. "As you know, I have an epic tier Lord talent called Super Mission Expert. This Lord talent is actually not inferior to my 100% drop rate back then. If it can be fully used, it won't be a problem for me to get anything. However, this Lord talent has a flaw. He requires the possessor of the Lord talent to travel across the high continent, or even the myriad worlds to trigger the mission. I need to guard the territory, so this Lord talent has been buried. Help me travel the entire high continent, and even the myriad worlds to develop the Lord talent potential of super mission masters, and collect the resources of the high continent and the various worlds. If you obtain treasures that are beneficial to the development of the territory, you can directly bring them back through return to the city. So this is why I'm called Zhou Tianming." Zhou Tianming nodded and smiled. "Don't you need me to stay here and fight with you today?" "No need." Zhou shook his head. "Sure. Then I'll set off now." Zhou Tianming did not waste his breath. He flew out of the Divine Kingdom passageway alone and concealed his aura. He flew out of the Blazing Sun Kingdom and quickly disappeared from the range of Zhou's divine senses. Letting Zhou Tianming stay outside can be considered my backup plan. In the future, if anything happens to me and I lose, I'll be reborn from Zhou Tianming and try to make a comeback. Zhou muttered to himself. Then, He grabbed out some true god-tier supplements from his king's treasure box to replenish his origin. He straight consumed them before entering the time world to cultivate. At the same time, the Mu residence. One of Zhou clones, Zhou Fight, was drinking tea and chatting with Mu Gu. At this moment, a white stream of light flew out of the Scarlet Brood Mother and landed in front of Zhou Fight. It was Bai Yun. He held the 3 world rings and respectfully said, "Your Majesty, these are all the class change certificates, recruitment books, and other loots." When Zhou Fight saw this, his divine sense entered the 3 world rings. In the first world ring, there were 360 billion copies of the Violent Storm Spirit class change certificate and 360 billion copies of the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier class change certificate. In the second world ring, there were 360 billion Violent Storm Spirit recruitment books and 360 billion Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier recruitment books. As for the third spatial ring, it contained a huge number of nest monster loots, such as the Thunder Element gems, the Iron-Eating Bear's pet egg, the Fear Falcon's wings, and so on. When Zhou Fight saw this, he smiled. Then, he grabbed the second and third world rings from Bai Yun's hands. The usual. Use the class change certificate to create new recruits and change all the Violent Storm Spirit soldiers among the new recruits to Forbidden Mages. I'll use the recruitment books to recruit new recruits. Zhou Fight stood up and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Bai Yun uttered respectfully, "Goodbye, Your Majesty. Legion Commander Blazing Sun Army, take care." Mu Gu instantly stood up and uttered respectfully. Zhou Fight and Bai Yun nodded. Then, they turned into 2 streams of light and soared out of the Divine Kingdom world. When they arrived at the Blazing Sun Kingdom, Bai Yun went straight to the Galaxy encampment. This was because all the new recruits in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, who had not joined the army, had temporarily arranged for their base to be on Galaxy, which had an internal world. After all, the internal world of the Galaxy was huge. The internal world of the Galaxy could carry 1 billion soldiers to eat, drink, shit, and train daily. It would be a waste not to use such an excellent garrison venue. Zhou Fight went straight to the Gate of Summoning. He gazed at the Gate of Summoning in front of him. He first communicated with Wuxia in his heart and questioned her to summon 800 Galaxy. Then, he put all the 720 billion recruitment books into the Gate of Summoning and let the 720 billion recruits that had yet to appear be located in the inner world of the Galaxy. Finally, he used 100 legendary tier mist cores to summon all the recruits. After they all came out and landed in the inner world of the Galaxy, Zhou Fight spoke briefly to these new recruits and questioned Wuxia to bring the Violent Storm Spirit to the Forbidden Mage job change statue of Su Yuan, so that they could change jobs with the new recruits under Bai Yun. Now, including these recruits, the total strength of the combat soldiers of my main legion has officially reached 2,900 billion 23, 96 million soldiers. Including the 120 billion soldiers of the Star Alliance, my soldiers have officially broken through 3 trillion and reached 3 trillion and 20 billion soldiers. Zhou Fight thought to himself in satisfaction as he watched the 800 Galaxy carrying the new recruits leave. Chapter 1094 3 Goods. 1094 3 Goods. Zhou Fight was very satisfied. There were more than 300 million soldiers. In addition, there were nearly 6,000 god spirits and 18 true god tiers. This was the entire strength of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, and not counting the outcome of the human true god tier. Looking at all the bloodline inheritances in my mind, this is the first time I've seen a kingdom of my strength. It's unprecedented. There's a high chance that no one will come again. Zhou smiled gently. Then, he didn't think too much about it. After summoning the new recruits, he also spent 100 legendary tier mist cores to summon all the new subjects for today. Because he had upgraded the Gate of Summoning last night, he had summoned 316,000 people in one go today. He summoned 32,000 more people than usual. Initially, Zhou Fight was quite happy. However, when he called out all 1,256 professionals and understood their professions, he quickly calmed down. This was because he realized that these professionals were actually very ordinary professionals. There were no special professionals like divine artifact forging apprentices, evil magicians, mages, and puppeteers. Forget it, forget it. How can I be so lucky every time I summon? Zhou Fight comforted himself in his heart. Then, he handed these new subjects to the staff beside him to arrange, before heading to the Lord Shop alone. The Lord Shop. When Zhou Fight arrived, Zhou Qingmin had been waiting for a long time. Greetings, Your Majesty. His Majesty seems to be in a good mood today. Zhou Qingmin smiled. I see you're in a good mood too. You're actually starting to ask me such a question. I thought you only had games in your mind every day. Zhou Fight smiled. Your Majesty must be teasing me. Zhou Qingmin didn't feel awkward when he heard this. He reached out and took out the 3 golden boxes under the counter. I didn't summon any special professional subjects today. I should be able to see some special products, right? Zhou Fight joked. However, when Zhou Qingmin heard this, he actually smiled and nodded. Of course. There are indeed some new products that have just been put on the shelves today. Your Majesty will know when you see them. What kind of new subject did I summon? Why don't you give me products related to new subjects? Zhou Fight's focus was not on the new products, but on the mechanism of the Lord Shop. It was really determined by what kind of new subjects appeared in his territory. Some of the merchandise is like that, but there are occasional exceptions. That's because the selection mechanism for the goods on sale in His Majesty's Lord Shop is based on whether His Majesty has such goods himself. Therefore, if His Majesty doesn't have such goods himself, the Lord Shop will put up such goods to make up for His Majesty's shortcomings. If His Majesty has everything, there's a high chance that some valuable goods will be put up for sale that His Majesty might already have. It was rare for Zhou Qingmin to explain. Zhou Fight was enlightened. However, he was not too surprised. In fact, he had a certain speculation about the mechanism of putting up goods in the Lord Shop. Now that Zhou Qingmin told him about this mechanism, his speculation was confirmed to be correct. Why did you suddenly tell me the mechanism of putting up goods in the Lord Shop? I've asked you this question before. You almost didn't say anything back then. Zhou Fight asked curiously. His Majesty's strength and Lord's power are improving by leaps and bounds every day. Actually, even if I don't say it sooner or later, His Majesty will understand the mechanism. I only told His Majesty in advance in an innocuous time. Zhou Qingmin chuckled. Zhou Fight nodded thoughtfully. His words were easy to understand. Simply put, when he was strong enough, he was qualified to know some things, so he told him these things. That was indeed the case. Regardless of when, where, and what they did, strength and influence would always be the ones who had the qualifications to know internal information. Without another word, he opened the 3 boxes. Without another word, he opened the 3 boxes. This was because there were 3 cards quietly placed in the 3 golden boxes. He looked at them one by one. Card name, free advanced commodity access card. Card level, special. Card effect. The Lord holds this card. When shopping in the Lord Shop, you can buy goods worth 50 million legendary tier Miss cores and below for free. Card name, commodity copy card. Card level, special. Card effect. If the Lord holds this card, you can copy it for free and own any goods that you have bought in the Lord Shop. Card name, commodity access unsealing card. Card level, special. Card effect. With this card, the Lord can unseal the rights to use the goods bought in the Lord Shop, excluding card-type goods, allowing it to be transferred to other life forms. Current card usage, 3/3 prompt. With the enhancement of your Collector Lord talent, the current card usage has increased to 7/7. They're all exclusive products of the Lord Shop? Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. It was all right. Even though it was not a particularly precious and useful product, it could still be used. How much Miss Core are these 3 cards? Zhou asked. A free advanced commodity acquisition card, worth 10,000 legendary tier mist cores. Commodity replication card, valued 5,000 legendary tier mist cores. Merchandise usage authority unsealing card, worth 3,000 legendary tier mist cores. Zhou Qingmin smiled. Zhou nodded. Zhou Fight took out 151,100 legendary tier mist cores and handed them to Zhou Qingmin. Thank you. Zhou Qingmin took it with a smile. Zhou Fight nodded and turned to leave. He flew directly in the direction of the Forbidden Mages statue. He came to the Forbidden Mages class advancement statue. A total of 720 billion soldiers suddenly surrounded the huge profession change statue. Some of them were soldiers who had already transitioned to Forbidden Mages, while the rest were soldiers who were in the process of transitioning to Forbidden Mages. When Zhou Fight saw this scene, he suddenly thought of something. Since Su Yuan is yet alive, I wonder if he can receive this power of faith? Su Yuan received it. Moreover, the reaction was very violent. The side effect was that even after resting for a while, the goddess of magic yet felt that her stamina had not recovered. To a master god tier god spirit, this was merely unbelievable. It was clear how ferocious Su Yuan was. Why are you so fierce today? Did that guy drug you again? The goddess of magic, Mistra, stretched her body and looked at Su Yuan seductively. I yet need strong medicine? Su Yuan was about to retort, but when he saw the meaningful look in Mistra's eyes, he coughed and said, "It's just a tiny external force." Small? How small? Mistra was curious. It's probably equivalent to 720 billion extraordinary tier life forms pushing me from behind. Su Yuan mused for a moment and said. Mistra's beautiful eyes widened. 720 billion extraordinary tier life forms? You're saying that the Lord of the Blazing Sun found another 720 billion kingdom-level spellcasters to alter their profession to become your empire-level combat profession. Forbidden Mage? It sounds incredible, but it's true. Su Yuan nodded and sighed. That common people's regal is indeed extraordinary. No wonder he could become a regal. In the future, he might become a master god tier, or even a supreme god realm. The supreme god realm. In Su Yuan's heart, he was already a peak god spirit. Chapter 1095 3 New True God Tier God Spirit. The Thousand Worlds are shocked. As for higher will-level existences, such as Regal Great Lunar, Regal Great Solar, and even higher-level Supreme Wills, and the Crimson Overlord, strictly speaking, they no longer belong to the God Spirit species. Supreme God Realm? You've underestimated him. The goddess of magic, Mistra, shook her head and said, according to my understanding, that common people's regal is an existence that has just stepped into low-tier deity level and has already comprehended the power of will. Master God tier, or even Supreme God realm, is actually not difficult for him. If he works harder, he might really be able to step into the level of a will existence in the future. A low-level deity has comprehended the power of will. Su Yuan's eyes widened when he heard this. This was the first time he had heard of this. Is this for real? Even if he is a regal, he can't grasp the power of will at the level of a lesser god, right? Isn't that too ridiculous? I'm the master of magic. My believers are all over the high continent, and even the myriad worlds. Even some master god tier are my best friends. Do you think what I've learned from them is fake? Mistra smiled. Su Yuan opened his mouth wide, and suddenly felt like he had nothing to live for. He, a forbidden archmage who had been a true god tier for nearly 10,000 years, was actually inferior to a human rookie who had been in the high continent for 3 months in terms of willpower comprehension. He felt as though he had lived for nothing. Don't be discouraged. Even though the common people's regal has only been in the high continent for a short period of time, the aura of time on he is not short. He should have entered a world with a huge difference in time flow compared to the high continent, which is why he has such achievements. At this point Mistra paused. Even though he had indeed sensed this from the other party, the common people's regal had probably entered that world for less than 1,000 years ago. To be able to have such strength and comprehension of laws in such a short period of time, not to mention him. Even if a supreme god realm descended, they would sigh in admiration. In comparison, her man was really a little inferior to him. He shook his head inwardly and stopped thinking about it. When Su Yuan heard this, his mood improved a little. I see. Then let's continue. Okay. Mistra's eyes lit up as she lay down again and adjusted her posture. At this moment, Su Yuan, who was full of energy, was naturally not afraid. He did not hesitate to fight again. Half an hour later, in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. At this moment, all the violent storm spirit soldiers had already changed their professions to forbidden mages. They were all arranged by Bai Yin to join the veterans on Galaxy. Just as Zhou Fight was about to cooperate with Bai Yin to put on a show to lure Uriel over for a sneak attack, the sky above the Blazing Sun Kingdom suddenly changed color. The clouds in the sky within a radius of 10 million miles turned red, emitting the power of lava laws. Higher up in the starry sky, a resplendent divine kingdom star slowly condensed, and finally released a resplendent scarlet light that illuminated the myriad worlds. Yanzhe has finally become a true god tier. Zhou Fight nodded slightly. At the same time, such a huge abnormality in the starry sky naturally alarmed the gods of the high continent and the myriad worlds. And when they cast their gazes at the source of the divine kingdom's star, they were immediately numb. It's the Blazing Sun Kingdom again. How long has it been? Why is there always a new true god tier in the Blazing Sun Kingdom? Could the Blazing Sun Kingdom be favored by the providence of the high continent, so it's easy for a true god tier to be born? I even want to bring my disciple to the Blazing Sun Kingdom to cultivate. Perhaps my disciple will have a chance to advance to the true god tier in the future. Hehe, the Blazing Sun Kingdom of the common people's regal is so arrogant. They don't even have the intention to hide something as important as advancing to the true god tier. Such a lord's faction won't be able to go far in the future. I'm so envious. I also want my empire to give birth to a true god tier every few days. The divinities from the various worlds watched for a while before looking away. Now that they all knew of Zhou's abilities, they naturally would not come knocking on his door to get beaten up. This made Zhou, who had prepared the 9 worlds divine demon dreamfall array, and various other defensive and counterattack methods, feel that it was a pity. He still wanted to take the opportunity to destroy a few ignorant true god tiers. At this moment, the Yellow Emperor and the rest flew out of the galaxy and came to Zhou Fight's side. Congratulations, Patriarch. Congratulations. There's a new true god tier in the territory. The Yellow Emperor and the others congratulated. At this moment, they were already used to it. Actually, it was quite easy to accept this scene, after getting used to it. My ass. How could there be a true god tier existence? Why did they pop out one by one like this? It's too early for you to be happy. Zhou Fight smiled at the gods' congratulations. Hearing this, the gods let out a cry of surprise, unable to react for a moment. Then, he was the first to react. He gulped and looked at Zhou Fight in disbelief. Patriarch, are you going to give birth to a true god tier here? Zhou Fight smiled, but did not say anything. When the true god tier saw this, they could not ask. They could only suppress the excitement and anticipation in their hearts, and begin to wait. A moment later, the phenomenon of Yanzhe advancing to the true god tier progressively dissipated. It was obvious that Yanzhe's advancement was coming to an end, and he had successfully achieved his true god tier status. Just as the gods were preparing to welcome the new true god tier screech, a shocking sword cry sounded. Soon after, the sky above the Blazing Sun Kingdom, which had already calmed down, transformed color once more. The clouds within a radius of 100 million square kilometers quickly turned into supreme sword chi that contained thousands of phenomena. These supreme sword chi emitted extremely sharp power of the sword Tao that no one dared to look at directly. In the distant starry sky, a sword divine kingdom star that emitted endless majestic sword chi slowly condensed. Then, its sword Tao divine light began to illuminate the myriad worlds. Zhou Fight nodded slightly. Qi Xintian, this sword Tao genius, had finally advanced to the true god tier. A moment later, the supreme sword chi phenomenon dissipated. Just as the gods thought that everything was finally over, boom! The sky above the Blazing Sun Kingdom transformed color once more. In the distant starry sky, stars appeared out of thin air, emitting a dazzling light and an extremely terrifying gravitational force. Amidst the light and gravitational force, An incomparably huge divine kingdom star surrounded by thousands of stars slowly solidified. After it completely condensed, it suddenly emitted a dazzling five-colored starlight that lit the myriad worlds. Zhou Feit smiled when he saw this scene. Yuan Song had finally successfully advanced to a true god tier. As for the Yellow Emperor and the other god spirits of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, as well as the god spirits of the myriad worlds who were paying attention to this scene, they felt numb. 3 true god tier cultivators had advanced at almost the same time, and they were all from the same faction. Such a scene could be asserted to be rarely seen in 100,000 years. Even most of the Divine Kingdom factions could only shrink back in the face of such a matter and sigh in admiration. This scene was destined to be remembered in the history of the myriad worlds. Chapter 1096 The Shock of the One-Eyed True God Tier. Not long after the True God Tier phenomenon of the Yuan Song ended, the new phenomenon of becoming a god finally did not appear again. Patriarch, there shouldn't be any new True God Tiers here who have advanced, right? Patriarch Lu waited for a while before asking. I don't think so today. Zhou Feit chuckled. That's good. The Yellow Emperor and the other True God Tiers heaved a sigh of relief. Even though it was a great thing for the Blazing Sun Kingdom and the entire human race to have a few more true god tier existences, with such a good thing happening so frequently, the veteran true god tiers still felt that their worldview was being challenged and overturned. But then they suddenly reacted. Their patriarch seemed to be saying that there were no new true god tiers today? Today? What does this mean? Is he going to come again tomorrow? This unbelievable guess appeared in their minds. Just as they were about to ask Zhou Feit more, a scarlet stream of light, a holy white sword aura, and a 5-colored stream of light flew out of the Divine Kingdom passageway. Then in the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of Zhou Feit and bowed respectfully. Greetings, Your Majesty. They were the 3 newly advanced true god tiers, Yanzhe, Qi Xintan and Yuan Song. Get up. Zhou Feit smiled and lifted the 3 true god tiers up with ease. How does it feel to become a true god tier? Zhou Feit asked with a faint smile. It's okay. An indescribable feeling. I feel great now. The 3 gods Yuan Song, Qi Xintian, and Yanzhe said respectively. Yuan Song and Qi Xintian were relatively calm, especially the Yuan Kong. After all, it came from a large clan like the Shepherd's God race. Even though a true god tier was considered an expert in the Shepherd's God race, to top geniuses like Yuan Song, they could only be considered to have reached the same level as his elders in the tribe. If one wanted to be proud, the Yuan Song would only show its pride when it advanced to a true god tier advanced grade, or even a master god tier in the future. As for Qi Xintian, he was a genius in the sword Dao of the human race. Even though his background was inferior to Yuan Song, he had a calm and distant heart of the sword Dao. Therefore, as soon as his arrogant emotions appeared, he easily appeased them. This was because Qi Xintian felt that in an environment where a true god tier, like the Blazing Sun Kingdom, was considered an ordinary top-notch combat power, he had yet to reach the level where he could be proud. As an advanced grade master god tier, he had the highest potential in the world. He felt that when he advanced to the master god tier level in the future, and could protect his country and race, he would have the right to be proud. As for Yanzhe, he was known as the future true god tier seed in the Fire Cry race. However, when he broke through this bottleneck so easily and became a true god tier, he could not help but feel a little excited. Actually, most of the people of the Fire Cry human race were hot-tempered and straightforward. Appeasement? Forcefully suppress your feelings? Don't be arrogant when you can be arrogant? Impossible. The main emotion was written all over his face. This is your true god tier congratulatory gift. Take it as a congratulatory gift in advance for the 3 of you becoming true gods. As for your holy god ceremony, well, hold it immediately tonight. General Zhou threw 3 spatial rings containing 3 sets of true god tier artifacts to Yuan Song and the others, then said with a faint smile. When the Yuan Song saw this, they hurriedly took the 3 spatial rings. When they saw the 3 sets of true god tier divine artifacts in the spatial rings, Their faces immediately revealed excited and surprised expressions. To be honest, ever since His Majesty began to get used to giving each newly advanced true God tier a set of elementary-grade divine artifacts, one of their cultivation goals had unknowingly been to obtain this set of true God tier divine artifacts. It had finally come true. Even though only one of the 6 elementary-grade true God tier divine artifacts belonged to them, and the other 5 were lent to them by their emperor, they were also very satisfied. "Now let's get ready," Zhou said. "Yes, Your Majesty." Yuan Song and the others nodded, then flew away and began to prepare for the upcoming battle. Half an hour later, 2,000 galaxy spaceships soared into the sky and disappeared into space. No one knew where they went. At this moment, it was as if the Homeland Defense Army was the only one left in the huge blazing Sun Kingdom. It looked the most empty and powerless, in an extremely hidden interlayer of space that was extremely far away from the imperial capital. 2 strange creatures with true God tier auras and a huge single eye were looking in the direction where the 2,000 galaxy ships disappeared. Because the one-eyed gods were best at long-distance detection, Uriel had specially ordered them to come here to observe the mobilization of the army of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Once they discovered that the Blazing Sun Kingdom's main combat army had left the capital, they needed to immediately tell this news to Uriel and his allied army to determine the timing of their sneak attack. They had been anticipating here for a long time and had been maintaining their law skills to observe the situation in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Now even the divine power in their bodies was almost depleted because they were maintaining this law skill. Now that they saw the Blazing Sun Kingdom's main army leave, they immediately became excited. "They seem to have left," one of the one-eyed gods said. "Yes, I saw it too." The Blazing Sun Kingdom's main army has all entered the Machina race's spaceship. They have already flown very far away. Looking at the direction they are flying in, they should be from the Blood Moon clan. Another of the one-eyed gods blinked and said, "I saw it too. But let's take another look just in case there's an accident. Just in case it's a trap." "Sure." The 2 one-eyed gods activated their law skills again and saw a shocking divine light erupt from their single eye. Not only could they see the hidden object in space, but they could also see the galaxy fleet sailing in the dark universe. However, in the next second, they saw the peerlessly handsome man, who seemed to be the most perfect life form in the world. "Oomph." A cold snort sounded in their minds, interrupting the prying of the 2 one-eyed gods. Not only that, the power of the snort even penetrated deep into their souls. At that moment, they felt a splitting headache, and countless blood vessels emerged in their huge single eye. They even felt as if their eyes happened to be about to explode. "Ah! My eyes!" The 2 one-eyed gods wailed in pain. At the same time, they happened to be extremely afraid. What kind of power was this? He was able to actually make them suffer from a cold snort from such a distance. This common people's regal didn't use his unique law skill to raise his cultivation to the limit of a true god tier. But he by now had such a terrifying ability? What would happen if he advanced to the limits of the true god tier? They naturally did not know. In this world, there was a power that was not restricted by one's strength and realm. It was called will. It was precisely because of the power of their wills that they happened to be injured by Zhou Fight's cold snort, and had no choice but to interrupt their nomological mystic techniques. At the same time, in the dark universe, inside the galaxy leader, which was surrounded by 2,000 galaxy ships, Zhou Fight was sitting in the captain's seat with a cold expression. Chapter 1097 Willpower Skill, Voice of Will, Master God Tier Miracle Item, World-Breaking Evil Blood Filthy Fiend Needle. If he hadn't wanted to lure the enemy over, he would have teleported over and killed the 2 one-eyed gods' true god tiers with 2 slaps. As for the power of that cold snort, it naturally came from the power of will. During this period of cultivation in the time world, even though he did not make much progress in the Third Lord Law skill, he had unexpectedly gained some insights in the use of willpower. He had also created this willpower skill that could combine soul protection and soul counterattack. Zhou called it the voice of will. Under the voice of will, not to mention a true god tier. Even a master god tier level existence would easily be injured if they rashly came into contact with Jojo. If not for the fact that Jojo was afraid of alerting Uriel and scaring him away, his voice of will would have been enough to instantly kill the two one-eyed true god tiers. Even though they could not be killed instantly, they had left a certain amount of damage in the depths of their souls. Without true god tier level medicine to recover, the damage to their souls would not recover for 10,000 years. Your Excellency, I felt like someone was spying on us just now. At this moment, after Tarokal was informed, he came in front of Jojo and said with a bewildered expression. He was a top-notch true god tier advanced grade expert. His perception surpassed that of other true god tier experts, which was why he was able to rush over immediately. Uriel wanted to check on us just now. He has already been expelled by this king. Ignore him and continue with the original plan. Zhou said calmly. Yes, Your Majesty. Tarokal heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. He nodded and left the captain's room. Zhou calmly communicated with Zhou Manage. Today, Zhou Manage had another mission. Instead of dealing with political affairs in the capital, he went out to retrieve something. They would have a 90% chance of winning against Uriel, as long as they obtained that thing. Zhou received a message from Zhou Manage. Did you get it? Good. A cold smile appeared on Zhou face. At the same time, after the two one-eyed gods' true god tiers recovered from the immense pain in their souls, they immediately flew towards the people of foreign races camp where Uriel was. In the huge high-tier deity-level territory, there were more than 247 billion people of foreign races soldiers, more than 10,000 ordinary god spirits, and 203 true god tier existences. When they returned, the two one-eyed gods' true god tiers' fear of the common people's regal eased a little. They soon met Uriel. Has the common people's regal left the blazing sun kingdom? Uriel asked immediately when he saw them. Yes, he's gone, but the two one-eyed gods' true god tiers honestly told Uriel what they had experienced. Then they said with fear, common people's regal is too terrifying. He can actually injure our souls with just one look. If we hadn't seen he fight before, we would have suspected that he had already become a master god tier. Even though Uriel looked calm on the surface, he was also shocked in his heart. Then, he became even more afraid of Jojo. This fellow had actually become stronger again. He couldn't wait any longer. If he waited any longer, he might not even be able to deal with this guy before he became a master god tier. He immediately stood up and summoned the soldiers and god spirits to prepare for a sneak attack on the blazing sun kingdom. Alliance Master, the common people's regal has already discovered our existence. Do you think he will be alerted and return to the blazing sun kingdom ahead of time to disrupt our sneak attack plan? The one-eyed god's true god tier, who had been watching Uriel command the troops, could not help but ask worriedly. That's why every second counts. Uriel's expression was resolute. The reason why the common people's regal can become so powerful as a human is not only because he has mastered the law of overlords, but also because of his lord talent. It's said that he has an extremely powerful lord talent, or even more than one. That's why he has risen to this day. As long as we destroy the blazing sun king and destroy his territory and the golden tablet of the kingdom, causing he to lose his status as a lord, his strength and the strength of the soldiers and god spirits under he will decrease by at least half. By then, even if common people's regal realizes something halfway and returns to the king's city, he will become easy to deal with. The two one-eyed gods' true god tiers were instantly enlightened. No wonder Uriel was so insistent on launching a sneak attack on the blazing sun kingdom. It turned out that there was such a consideration. Understood. Let's get ready too. The two one-eyed gods' true god tiers did not say anything else, and immediately flew off to prepare. Only Uriel, whose eyes were dark, was left looking in the direction of the blazing sun kingdom. More than 10 trillion subjects were gathered at the blazing sun kingdom, even though there were many subjects in the capital, because the capital occupied a large area, and the layout of the buildings was very reasonable. Even if more than 10 trillion subjects settled here, it did not seem crowded at all. Instead, it only made this place look prosperous and popular. At this moment, in the sky, crack, 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 space fissures suddenly appeared in the sky above the blazing Sun Kingdom, rapidly expanding and expanding to a radius of tens of millions of square kilometers in the blink of an eye. The next second, rumble, the space was broken, revealing the scene inside. In the dark space, huge silver-gray Titan battleships that were 5,000 kilometers long were lying across the dark space. At a glance, there were millions of them. On each Titan battleship stood hundreds of millions of soldiers from the people of foreign races, and a large number of battleship weapons. In the middle of these Titan battleships, Uriel stood in the void, holding a spatial-type mystical object that emitted the aura of a master god tier in his right hand. Right on the heels of that, Uriel took out another strange item that emitted the aura of a master god tier with his left hand. It was a needle contaminated by the heretic god's blood. The master god tier mysterious item, the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle. This was a strange object that the Titans had collected specifically to break through world barriers, array barriers, and other barrier-type defensive facilities. In order to deal with Jojo, Uriel possessed specially applied for this miraculous item from the Titan god's treasury. Go on. Uriel's mind moved. The world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle soared out of his hand and turned into a stream of light that shot straight at the blazing Sun King below. When the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle was 100,000 meters away from the blazing Sun Kingdom, it suddenly paused, as if it possessed stabbed into something. Immediately after, a barrier that was filled with illusions of dreams slowly appeared, protecting the entire blazing Sun Kingdom. It stood the 9 worlds divine demon dreamfall array. However, this true god-tier level nation-protecting array only lasted for more than 10 seconds before it shattered, causing the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle to shoot straight towards the center of the capital. To be precise, it stood at the Divine Kingdom passageway in the sky above the central area of the capital. It stood extremely fast and reached in front of the Divine Kingdom passageway in the blink of an eye. Just as it stood about to pierce the Divine Kingdom passageway, a hand wearing a long-sleeved glove that emitted a rainbow-colored glow suddenly emerged and quietly pinched the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle. Chapter 1098. How would you not have ready sins if you want to incriminate me? A figure walked out of the Divine Kingdom passageway. It was none other than Jojo. He looked at the restless world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle in his hand and could not help but click his tongue in wonder. As expected of a master god tier seed born from the Titans, he had used a master god tier level mystical item right from the start. Even though this strange object was inferior to a master god tier divine artifact, in terms of its specialty, it was actually not inferior to the power of a regular master god tier divine artifact at all. With a thought, he activated the Master Thief's robbery gloves, wanting to forcefully plunder this Master God tier divine artifact. However, his glove suddenly emitted a 7-colored light. Then, the 7-colored light didn't last long before it gradually dimmed and finally disappeared. After the Master Thief's robbery gloves failed to be stolen, the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle suddenly emitted an extremely filthy blood-red light, causing Jojo to narrow his eyes. Then, when the blood light dissipated, he looked over and saw that the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle in his hand had already disappeared. He looked up. The world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle had already appeared beside Uriel. Jojo felt that it was a pity. As a legendary tier lord talent's innate creation, the Master Thief's robbery gloves was essentially just a high-tier deity-level advanced-grade divine artifact with strange effects. They weren't even true god-tier divine artifacts. It was indeed very difficult to control this master god-tier mystical item with such a grade of innate creation. If I upgrade the legendary tier lord talent, Master Thief's robbery gloves, to the mythical tier, the only lord talent, I should be able to steal that fiend needle. This thought flashed across Jojo's mind. The upper limit of the mythical tier lord talent was the master god tier. As long as it was not a supreme god realm or higher level treasure, it could actually be easily controlled by the mythical tier unique lord talent. At the same time, Uriel narrowed his eyes when he saw that the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle that he had released was easily controlled by Zhou, and escaped back to his side. He wasn't surprised by Zhou's appearance. This was because he had long learned from the Titans that this common people's regal had more than one clone. It didn't matter whether it was Zhou's clone or his true body, they could just wipe them out together. And to his surprise, the fiend needle was actually held by this fellow with one hand. Even though the world-breaking evil blood filthy fiend needle was not a specialized offensive item, it was not something that an ordinary true god tier could control so easily. With that move just now, even if the common people's regal didn't have the combat power of a master god tier, it should be infinitely close to the level of a master god tier. Knowledge is not as good as fighting. This human is indeed qualified to obtain the title of regal, Uriel thought. At this moment, Zhou's voice came from the capital of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, and his voice spread throughout the entire people of foreign races alliance of Uriel. Uriel, you actually dared to launch a sneak attack on this king of the Blazing Sun's capital. Aren't you afraid of being severely punished by the Supreme Agreement? Uriel smiled coldly and said, Common people's regal. The human race offending the Titan gods is already on our list of races that must be killed. The day I came to the High Continent, this point was already made clear. Yet, you harbored the human race, and even attacked their race with the human true god tier leaders. Clearly, you're in cahoots with them. Can't I destroy your lord's faction while exterminating the human race? Offend the Titans? Just based on the groundless defamation charges you fabricated? Zhou sneered. You know very well whether you're guilty of defamation or not. Uriel said calmly. He looked like he couldn't be bothered to answer. Zhou could not be bothered to say anything else. If even the human race's usual ridicule of the Titan gods could be considered a crime of insulting the Titan gods, the weak races in the endless heavens would have long been wiped out. Who didn't occasionally complain about top-notch bloodlines after all? This kind of thing could be big or small. Uriel was using this to make a big deal out of it. Zhou really couldn't do anything to him. It seemed that the Supreme Agreement was the same. However, he didn't care anymore. He had fully grown. In addition, he had the door to the Shadow Realm. Now, even if the Master God tier were to descend personally, he wouldn't be afraid of anything on the High Continent. And outside the Supreme Continent, Zhou had the door of the Shadow Realm with him. He could directly escape if he encountered an enemy at the Master God tier level that he could not deal with. Therefore, he wasn't afraid of Uriel's threat at all. He even wanted to keep all of them here. At this moment, Uriel looked at the broken Nine Worlds Divine Demon Dreamfall array and waved his hand with a cold expression. The millions of Titan battleships behind he were activated. Some of them flew towards the Blazing Sun King, while the rest activated various war weapons from afar to launch a long-range attack on the Blazing Sun King. Boom, 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 boom. Billions of powerful attacks bombarded the King of the Blazing Sun at an astonishing speed. If this round of bombardment completely fell, it could completely blast the King of the Blazing Sun into ruins. However, when Zhou saw this scene, he had no intention of stopping her. He did not even have the intention to activate the other level of the Nine Worlds Divine Demon Dreamfall array. When Uriel saw this, he was still in shock when he saw that the billions of trillions of attacks were suddenly blocked by a black gold illusory city wall that suddenly appeared when they were about 100,000 meters above the capital. The ancient scene of tens of thousands of races coexisting harmoniously was engraved on the black gold city wall. Naturally, it exuded a primitive aura. In front of this black gold illusory city wall, these trillions of malicious attacks that had no lack of true god tier cultivators were actually all blocked. Not even a trace of the aftershock of the explosion could penetrate the Blazing Sun Imperial City. When Zhou saw this, a faint smile appeared on his face. The surrounding soldiers, who had already set up defenses on the city wall to counterattack, heaved a sigh of relief. Supreme defense? Uriel narrowed his eyes and looked at the black gold illusory city wall for a while before saying in surprise, wasn't this ancient city wall destroyed in the war between the two divine kingdoms 500,000 years ago. At that time, a Master God tier Lord of the Divine Kingdom had used the city wall to search for a way to repair it. It was said that he had even gone to the Sun Star once. Unfortunately, he had been rejected in the end and had never been able to repair it. He didn't expect to see this ancient city wall today. Uriel had the ancient inheritance of the Titans in his mind. With just a few glances, he was able to tell the origin of the city wall. This common people's regal had a lot of treasures. He pondered for 2 seconds and searched for a way to break out of the situation. In the end, he ordered, "Continue the offensive until we break through this wall." Back then, even the intact Supreme Defense could not withstand the combined attack of 10,000 God spirits and more than 100 true God tiers, causing it to be destroyed. He had brought more God spirits and true God tiers this time. He believed that his side was able to easily break the Supreme Defense and capture or kill the common people's regal Zhou inside. Boom, 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 boom. The continuous attacks landed on the Supreme Defense before the vanguard and were blocked by it. Zhou gazed at this special building and was able to not help but sigh, as expected of the special building that he had opened from the mythical tier treasure chest. Now that he had advanced to the advanced grade of a true God tier, its defense was able to completely fight an official battle of the Divine Kingdoms. However, if he continued to resist Uriel's attack, the Supreme Defense might not be able to withstand it. He had to think of a way to break out of the situation. The way to break out of this situation remained also very simple. Zhou lifted his right hand and ignited the 10,000 Spirit Saint. Chapter 1099 Activate the 10,000 Spirit Saint. Huge Harvest. The next second, an invisible wave instantly spread from his right palm to a radius of 10 million kilometers, enveloping Uriel and the 247 billion people of foreign races soldiers, 10,000 ordinary God spirits, and 203 true God tier existences. Uriel's expression changed when he saw Zhou's actions. He immediately took out a pure gold necklace and floated in front of him. Then, he injected his true God tier divine power into it. As the true God tier's divine power continued to pour in, the pure gold necklace trembled slightly before spreading out an invisible wave that protected all the soldiers, heroes, and God spirits under him. However, the methods he had prepared were completely useless against the 10,000 Spirit Saint. Under the influence of the 10,000 Spirit Saint, the gazes of half of the soldiers, heroes, and God spirits immediately changed. Then, they attacked their companions beside them without hesitation. The Titan battleship's originally fierce and dense attacks also suddenly became scattered because of this sudden internal strife, causing the pressure facing the Supreme Defense to instantly decrease greatly. Seeing this scene, Uriel's face instantly darkened, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The golden necklace in his hand was called Guardian of the God of Mind. This was a one-time use treasure created by a Master God tier advanced grade existence. Its level had also reached that of a Master God tier advanced grade existence. Later on, the other party made a deal with the Titan gods and traded this treasure to them. Uriel checked Zhou's information and knew that Zhou had a very shocking insight defection method. After he could incite a large number of soldiers from the opposing camp to become his soldiers during wartime, he immediately applied to the clan and obtained this treasure. He originally thought that by relying on this one-time wonder item of a Master God tier advanced grade, he would be able to avoid the terrifying means of the common people's regal's insight defection during wartime. He did not expect that the other party would still instigate half of his soldiers and God spirits to instigate insight defection. He didn't want to believe such a thing. That was the treasure of a Master God tier advanced grade after all. Such a treasure actually could not affect the other party's methods. He did not even use the weakening effect. Could the methods that the common people's regal had mastered had already reached the Supreme God realm? What a joke! What he didn't know was, the 10,000 Spirit Saint that Zhou used was the effect of the mythical tier 1 and only Lord talent. Its level was comparable to a Master God tier advanced grade law skill. Moreover, It was a Lord Law skill of a Master God tier advanced grade. Once this law skill was used, it was naturally not something that an ordinary one-time wonder created by an ordinary Master God tier could resist. At the same time, in the capital of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, Bai Yun, who was waiting for an opportunity in the dark, immediately received an order from Zhou the moment the internal strife began. Lead the entire army and attack. As the Legion commander, Bai Yun naturally knew that this was the best time to attack the other party. As the Legion commander, Bai Yun naturally knew that this was the best time to attack the other party. All soldiers, heroes, and worship God spirits. Listen to my orders, Legion commander. Attack these invaders. When you encounter enemies, don't hold back. You must eliminate them as quickly as possible. We can't let them affect the lives of the subjects in the capital. We can't let them rush past us and hurt the subjects in the capital. Yes, billions of soldiers roared in unison, their voices shaking the heavens and earth. Then, all the soldiers and god spirits immediately flew out of Galaxy and launched an all-out attack on Uriel's side. The Yellow Talisman Dao soldiers attacked first. The Forbidden Mage chanted an incantation. All kinds of war machines began to accumulate energy. One after another, God spirit-level military formations rose from the army, emitting majestic battle power. Seeing this scene, Uriel's face deepened even more. This guy's total military strength was actually still hidden in the capital city, waiting for them to appear and launch a surprise attack. The Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers who had just flown away on the spaceship. He thought of something and suddenly rotated his head. He saw 2,000 Galaxy appear silently behind him. Then trillions of soldiers rushed out of these spaceships and covered the entire heavens in the blink of an eye. Zhou Fight stood in front of the trillions of soldiers. He wore golden true god tier divine artifacts and held the universe-destroying blade in his hand as he looked at Uriel coldly. Kill, Zhou Fight spoke coldly. Yes, Qi Xintian, Yuan Song, Heros, Yellow Emperor, and the other true god tiers replied. Then, they revealed their true god tier divine artifacts and led in troops of more than 1,500 billion to charge towards Uriel's people of foreign races. Seeing this scene, the true god tiers, god spirits, and other generals of the people of foreign races under Uriel's command had ugly expressions. Weren't they on the side of the sneak attack? In the blink of an eye, they had become the side that was ambushed and besieged. Even their escape route was cut off. All troops listen up. From now on, our army will be divided into two. The front army will deal with the enemies of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, and the rear army will deal with the enemies from the rear. At the same time, we will deal with the enemies who have been incited by incite defection. Even though the enemy came suddenly, our troops still has the advantage. We can definitely win this battle. The true god tier, who was also a Titan god like Uriel, shouted. Then, he immediately led half of the allied troops and rushed towards Zhou Fight. The god spirits and soldiers of the people of foreign races calmed down when they heard this. He was right. Even though the situation was a little chaotic now, they still had their greatest trump card. They looked at Uriel, who was in the middle of the army. At this moment, Uriel was also looking at the vessel of dark purple divine blood in his hand, his eyes flickering with a deep black light. The Blazing Sun Kingdom. When the soldiers, god spirits, and soldiers rushed towards Uriel's allied army, Zhou did not follow them. Instead, he looked at the composition of Uriel's army. Uriel's people of Foreign Race Alliance headquarters, the remnants of the alliance gathered by the Shadow Clan, and the alliance troops of the Blood Moon Clan. Good timing. I originally wanted to get rid of you all one by one after today. I didn't expect you to come knocking on my door one by one. It saved me a lot of effort and time. Zhou smiled faintly. Then, he looked at the Lord Talent notification in front of him. Prompt. You have activated your mythical tier unique Lord Talent, 10,000 Spirit Saint. All spirits see you as a supreme saint and long to follow you. Lord Talent notification 1. 356,015,051,856 Black Iron Tier soldiers of foreign races. 235,673,607,712 green bronze tier soldiers of foreign races. 252,775,967,888 white silver tier soldiers of foreign races. 180,065,005,693 yellow gold tier soldiers of foreign races. 111,012,801,860 white platinum tier soldiers of foreign races. 56,812,089,668 diamond tier soldiers of foreign races. 26,889,771,632 extraordinary tier soldiers of foreign races. 12,539,601,350 epic tier soldiers of foreign races. 3,216,025,230 legendary tier soldiers of foreign races. 5,652 low-tier deity-level soldiers of foreign races. 3,919 mid-tier deity-level soldiers of foreign races. 1,011 high-tier deity-level soldiers of foreign races. 101 true god-tier soldiers of foreign races broke away from their faction and became your loyal followers. Lord Talent Notification 2. You have obtained a Spellcaster, De Carlos, True God Tier Advanced Grade. When Jojo saw this result, he could not help but be pleasantly surprised. Good God! As expected, the 10,000 Spirit Saint did not disappoint him. He directly incited him to incite defection to 1,234,992,889 soldiers, 10,582 ordinary God spirits, and 101 true God tiers. Regardless of whether it was ordinary soldiers, ordinary God spirits, or true God tier existences, all of them had given their territorial powers an extremely astonishing increase. Thank you to the Titan, Uriel, for the big gift bags. Jojo was sincerely grateful. Chapter 1100 Uriel's Trump Card. The Titan Master God's Blood. At the same time, just as Uriel's people of foreign races and the army of the Blazing Sun Kingdom were fighting, the Homeland Defense Army in the capital quickly set up a defensive line. Then, they looked at the two sides fighting in the sky with serious and yearning eyes. As the garrison of the capital city, they had long received orders. In today's war, unless the main army showed signs of defeat, they could only go to the battlefield to participate. If there were no signs of defeat, they could only guard their own encampment and guard their sentries, while maintaining the order of the territory's subjects. The other party's army looked like they were in chaos after His Majesty waved his hand. The soldiers of the Homeland Defense Legion knew that they would not have the chance to participate in this battle. They felt that it was a pity, but they were also proud of their powerful lord and powerful main combat army. In the capital, when the enemy attacked, the subjects were only a little flustered at the beginning, but they quickly became orderly under the protection of the soldiers and officials. At the same time, they followed the arrangements of the officials and entered Jojo's Divine Kingdom world one by one. Jojo's Divine Kingdom world was within the supreme domain of the Supreme Will. It could be said that no other place was safer than Jojo's Divine Kingdom world. In less than a moment, the enormous Blazing Sun Kingdom had become an empty city. At the same time, just as the two armies were fighting, many other people of foreign races and lords were also silently observing this unprecedented battle. They really wanted to see which of the titans represented by Uriel, or the Blazing Sun Kingdom, represented by Jojo, would win after this war that was comparable to a divine kingdom. It would have a profound impact on the future no matter who won, especially for the new lords and veteran races. It was a huge event that was equivalent to the collision of the old and new eras. Among the people of foreign races who were secretly observing, the Heaven Hidden race, Rakshasa race and Ingo's clan were most concerned about the outcome of this battle. This was because they were the three of the 5 people of foreign races who had stopped the humans from retreating to the primordial world. As for the Shadow clan, they had already been destroyed, and the Blood Moon clan was participating in the battle. As for the reason why they cared, it was because the moment Jojo's faction appeared, They realized that none of the three races could defeat Zhou and the Lord's faction under him in a direct confrontation. If the three races joined forces, the strength of their forces would actually be about the same as Uriel's People of Foreign Race Alliance, which was fighting Zhou. Which meant one could almost see the outcome of the battle between them and the common people's regal in the future with this current battle between Uriel and Zhou. It would be best if Uriel won this battle. This meant that they didn't have to face a great enemy, like the common people's regal, since he would have already been eliminated by Uriel. At most, they would send some resources to the Titan gods to express their gratitude. If Uriel did not win, and was destroyed by Zhou instead, the outcome would be terrible for them. This meant that they couldn't defeat this common people's regal either. At that time they would only have two choices. The first choice was to persevere in the battle until they were wiped out by Zhou along with their race. The second choice was to surrender to Zhou. There was no third option. They could not even escape as an entire race unless they gave up on their race and fled. However, this choice was almost equivalent to extermination. Sometimes, it was even worse than extermination. Just look at those refugees who had no fixed residence or foundation. It was the current situation of refugees who were hated by everyone. Occasionally, they would have to face the pursuit of powerful races. It could be said that they were living lives worse than death. Lord Uriel must win. As long as Lord Uriel wins, the Ingos clan will be willing to accept it even if we have to become their vassals. The leaders of the Ingos clan looked at the projection of the illusory battlefield in front of them and prayed silently. The Ingos clan was the weakest amongst the three races. Furthermore, they also knew that among the true god tier of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, there were several true god-level experts who controlled the Ingos clan. For example, the Blazing Sun god Heros had the ability to transform into the sun. Therefore, the last thing they wanted was for Uriel to lose. In addition to the Ingos clan, the humans of the Cerulean planet and the primordial world were also watching the battle nervously through a live broadcast. Whether the Lord of the Blazing Sun could win today's battle almost determined their future fates. On the battlefield, Uriel looked at the dark purple divine blood bottle in his hand, and then at Zhou. Do you dare to fight me? If you don't dare to fight me, these true god tears of yours will suffer. He said in a deep voice. There's no need to threaten me. I promise you. Zhou said calmly. Okay. Uriel looked at him deeply. He believed that with this regal's intelligence, he wouldn't be able to guess that he had a Master God tier level trump card. But even so, he still dared to accept his challenge. Could it be that he also had means at the Master God tier level? Yes, indeed there should be. Otherwise, he would not have been able to destroy the Shadow Clan. This thought flashed through his mind before he shook his head inwardly. It didn't matter. No matter what kind of Master God tier trump card the other party had, he might be beaten to death by me. That was because he had an invincible Master God tier trump card. He glanced at Zhou before teleporting away. When Zhou saw this, his figure instantly disappeared into thin air. The Supreme Great Cosmos. In a dead star field in the starry sky, this place was very empty and dark. There was not even a star. There were only a large number of lifeless planets spinning in a chaotic trajectory, enveloped in a dark light. The only visible light source was the sun star, which was billions of trillions of light years away. At this moment, two figures instantly appeared here. It was Zhou and Uriel. This place is about 60 million light years away from the high continent. As long as we don't teleport, the aftershock of our battle shouldn't reach the high continent, and we won't be punished by the high continent. Uriel stated calmly. Zhou's expression was calm. He understood that the other party was speaking from the perspective of a Master God tier. This was because Master God tier existences were existences that would create and destroy the boundless universe. And how big was a boundless universe? Normally speaking, the small world where Cerulean planet/Earth was located was about 100 billion light years in diameter. The largest world in the middle world was about 1 trillion light years in diameter. The largest world radius in the boundless universe was very exaggerated, about 1,000 trillion light-years. This was because the middle world and small world did not have complete laws to support the world. On the other hand, the boundless universe had complete laws supporting it. The quantitative change had reached a qualitative change, which was why the boundless universe was exceptionally large. The biological potential and upper limit of the creatures it nurtured were also exceptionally high. If Zhou and Uriel were to unleash the power of the Master God tier level next, the distance of 60 million light-years might not be considered far. I advise you to go all out next, because they'll go all out and not give you any chance, Uriel stated faintly. Then, he uncorked the dark purple blood bottle in his hand without hesitation. In an instant, an extremely terrifying divine power fluctuated from the blood bottle and enveloped Zhou in the blink of an eye. Then, it swiftly enveloped an area of 10 million light-years. Zhou narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at the blood bottle in his hand. The blood of a Master God tier? Judging from its aura, it should be the blood of a Master God tier existence of the Titans. The quality should be low-level Master God tier elementary grade, he thought to himself. At this moment, Uriel raised his head and drank all the divine blood in the bottle without hesitation. Chapter 11:012 Master God tier treasures. You seem to think too simply of me. After drinking it, he suddenly lowered his head, and the Titan God's huge divine body trembled faintly. Roar! He let out a deep and painful roar as his body began to expand. Purple blood patterns appeared on his body as large amounts of dark purple blood flowed all over his huge body. It looked like his body was about to split open in the next second. However, he had an extremely astonishing recovery ability belonging to the Titan gods. Furthermore, it allowed his divine body to recover rapidly, preventing him from exploding and dying after absorbing the power of the huge amount of Master God tier's blood. Zhou saw this scene and had no intention of stopping him. Firstly, he had a trump card sent by Zhou managed that was enough to protect him and even allow him to defeat him. This made he feel very calm. Secondly, he felt that this was a rare opportunity to fight against a Master God tier existence. Even if the other party could only become a pseudo-Master God tier existence in the end, he could still let Zhou experience the fighting style of a Master God tier. In the future, after he walked out of the High Continent, he was destined to fight against existences at the level of Master God tier. It wasn't a bad thing to accumulate some experience at this time. Come on, let me test your strength. Zhou did not plan to take out his Master God tier trump card right from the start, so he planned to use other Master God tier methods to test the waters first. He first took out a piece of yellowish-brown armor. Treasure name: Mountain-bearing body armor. Treasure grade: Master God tier elementary grade. Treasure effect: after the death of a Master God level divine beast. Mountain-bearing roar: the essence treasure condensed from the intrinsic treasure armor on its body. It contains the defensive power of a low-level Master God tier elementary grade. It can withstand the full strength attack of a low-level elementary grade Master God tier 10 times without being damaged. After 10 times of defense, it can reflect all the stored attack energy back to the attacker. At the same time, it will be completely damaged. Treasure description: a Master God tier level divine beast. Mountain-bearing roar is a natural-born divine beast. It was born carrying a mountain the size of a small world and walks through the myriad worlds. It is good at the laws of the earth and the laws of defense. Among life forms of the same level, in terms of defense, mountain-bearing roar can be ranked in the top 10 among all life forms. Current number of usages of Mountain Roar body armor: 1/1 prompt. With the enhancement of your Collector Lord talent, the number of usages of the mountain-bearing body armor has increased to 5/5. Zhou pressed it against his chest. This yellowish-brown armor directly fused into his body, strengthening his defense to the level of Master God tier elementary grade. Then, Zhou took out his Regal Sage Dao sword and a pearl that emitted a faint white light. The Regal Sage Dao sword was an enhanceable divine artifact. After he had raised his strength to the level of a Master God tier through the king, His own grade had also increased infinitely to the level of a master god tier. As for the glazed pearl, it was not a treasure that he had obtained through the King of Lutes. Instead, it was bought by Zheng Fugui's mysterious caravan, with a bag of meat pies from a beggar. Treasure name: Heavenly Saint Divine Pearl. Treasure grade: Special. Treasure effect: it can temporarily increase the quality of any treasure by a small level. Duration: 24 hours. After use, it will automatically shatter. Treasure description: a unique pearl produced by the Heavenly Saint Divine Clam. It can increase the grade of any treasure by a small level. The maximum increase is Master God Tier Elementary Grade. Current usage of the Heavenly Saint Divine Pearl. 1/1 Prompt. With the enhancement of your Collector Lord talent, the current usage of the Heavenly Saint Divine Pearl has increased to 5/5. Zhou took the pearl and placed it on his regal Saint Dao sword. The next second, the Heavenly Saint Divine Pearl quickly fused into the regal Sage Dao sword like a water droplet and disappeared. A majestic aura of a Master God Tier Elementary Grade Master God Tier suddenly erupted from the regal Sage Dao sword. At the same time, the regal dragon carving on his sword became more lively, as if it was about to fly out of the regal Sage Dao sword in the next second. Uriel, who was experiencing a painful upgrade, felt this aura and looked up at he. Then, he saw the regal Sage Dao sword in his hand, which had been temporarily upgraded to Master God Tier Elementary Grade. A pseudo-Master God Tier Divine Artifact? Uriel took a deep breath, and the trembling of his divine body gradually disappeared. Then, he slowly stood up, and his expression gradually calmed down as he looked at Zhou. He looked at his 1,000-light-year-tall body, and felt the power in his body. He smiled. Is this the power of a Master God Tier? As expected, it is completely different from a true God Tier. This is the power to stand at the end of the laws. And, his eyes lit up. I can feel the power of will. So this is the will. I understand. I know how to become a Master God Tier. Ha 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 ha. Uriel laughed wildly. As the Master God Tier seed of the Titans, he was constantly thinking about how to become a true God Tier, and he had also used many methods. However, he had never been able to comprehend the power of will. He had never been able to become a Master God Tier. Unexpectedly, in the end, he had actually comprehended the power of will through this method. Even though using this blood of the Lord God will damage my potential, if I forcefully obtain the power of the Master God Tier level for a short period of time. However, since I've already comprehended the power of will, I'm completely qualified to extract requests from the clan to repair my potential. At that time, I can directly become a Master God Tier and become another clan-protecting powerhouse of the Titan gods, suppressing the myriad worlds. Uriel's eyes burned with fanatical flames. Then, he looked at Zhou. A mocking look appeared in his eyes. It was completely different from the seriousness from before. An ant-like little fellow. You think you can contend with me just because you have a fake Master God Tier divine artifact? You think too simply of Master God Tier. As soon as he finished speaking, he activated the temporarily enhanced willpower and attacked Zhou's soul directly. In his expectations, even if Zhou had a top-notch divine artifact to protect his soul, he would not be able to withstand his attack. But in the next second, he was stunned. Because of his will attack, Zhou gazed at he calmly as if nothing had happened. How can you be okay? Don't tell me you still have a pseudo-Master God Tier divine artifact that can protect your will? Uriel was shocked. Then he swiftly denied his guess. This was because Master God Tier divine artifacts of the determination type were also rarer than ordinary Master God divine artifacts. How could they fall into the hands of a newly risen lord of all races? It was impossible even if he was the common people's regal. Suddenly, he thought of a rumor. Could it be that you have also grasped the power of will? Uriel uttered with an ugly expression. This king can answer you yes. You seem to have underestimated this king. Zhou replied calmly with the voice of will. As a Master God Tier, Uriel was naturally immune to the assault of Zhou's voice of will. However, his expression turned also uglier. This was because he discovered that not only did he grasp the might of will, he also seemed to. He was also stronger than him. Common people's regal. Uriel's expression turned solemn, and there was a hint of crazed jealousy in the depths of his eyes. Chapter 11:02 Fierce Battle. Uriel was unwilling to accept the reality in front of him. Why? Why? As the talented Master God tier seed of the Titans, he had spent a lot of time, but was still unable to comprehend the power of a Master God tier. How could this fellow comprehend the power of will in such a short period of time, after coming to the High Continent? Die! Uriel roared, and his speed instantly soared to the extreme. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Zhou, and threw a punch at the tiny Zhou. With a body of more than 1,000 light-years, his fist alone was 50 to 60 light-years large. When he threw a punch, it was like a fist the size of a small plane falling towards Zhou. Zhou could not dodge the Master God tier's speed at all. He could only use the regal sage Dao sword to block in front of him. Boom! Zhou turned into a golden stream of light, and was sent flying tens of thousands of light-years away in the blink of an eye. When he was tens of thousands of light-years away, Zhou barely managed to stop his body from being sent flying. Then he checked his condition. The regal sage Dao sword was naturally intact. Under the protection of the mountain-bearing body armor, his body wasn't injured at all. It was just that he had blocked one less Master God tier attack. Zhou clicked his tongue. The Titan gods were indeed the second largest race in the infinite worlds, that was only inferior to the chaotic gods in terms of physique. Just the simple and unadorned full-strength punch of his body was actually equivalent to the full-strength attack of an ordinary Master God tier law skill, without using a law skill. At this moment, Uriel rushed to Zhou again. When he saw that Zhou was unharmed, the anger and jealousy in his eyes intensified. Without thinking, he punched Zhou again. He was extremely fast. Even though Zhou was prepared and slashed at Uriel's huge fist, he was still sent flying more than 1,000,000 light-years away by the terrifying force contained in the fist and the powerful law of strength. Along the way, he destroyed countless planets, galaxies, and even a large number of cosmic celestial bodies. After Zhou stopped, he expressionlessly felt the body armor. Yes, he had one less chance to block an attack. At the same time, more than 1,000,000 light-years away, Uriel looked at his fist. A hideous wound appeared on the fist. A large amount of dark purple Master God tier blood flowed out and sprinkled down to the lower realm. Every drop of Master God tier blood could create a true God tier potential possessor. When Uriel saw this scene, even though he knew that this was caused by the fake Master God tier divine artifact in Zhou's hands, he still couldn't accept it. As a Titan god with the power of a Master God tier, he was actually helpless against a true God tier, who only wielded a pseudo-Master God tier. He was even injured by the other party. This was an insult to his noble bloodline. I must kill you even if you are a regal. Uriel was even angrier, but because of this, he became even calmer. With a thought from the wound began to recover rapidly. It only took 2 to 3 seconds to completely recover. When Zhou saw this scene, he took a deep breath and activated the chaotic holy power in his body. Then, his body began to rapidly expand. 100,000 kilometers tall, 1,000,000 kilometers tall, 10,000,000 kilometers tall. Only when Zhou's divine body expanded to nearly a light-year tall did he feel the limits of his divine body slowly stabilize. He looked at his divine body. Even though this divine body could not compare to Uriel's 1,000 light-year tall divine body, it was at least not as pathetic as before. At this moment, Uriel flew 1,000,000 light-years away and arrived in front of Zhou in a flash, sending him flying again with a punch. However, this time Zhou was only sent flying more than 10,000 light-years before he stopped. Then, he advanced instead of retreating. He charged straight at Uriel, who was also charging at him. Then, he took a deep breath and slashed out a regal dragon sword beam with all his might. This was an ability bestowed upon the regal sage Dao sword by temporarily advancing to the low-level Master God tier. Even among the low-level Master God tier elementary grades, it was one of the best. In addition, he had added all the power of his myriad methods star palm to it. This attack could be said to be the strongest attack he could use at the moment. The price was, his chaotic sacred power decreased by about 10%, even though it was only 1/10. However, it had to be known that he was a Lord Law-type God spirit. The total amount of chaotic sacred power in he was already much more than that of true God tier advanced grade God spirits of the same level. Furthermore, after he absorbed the Shepherd's God race's bloodline, he had awakened 3,000 Divine Court Realm apertures. Every Divine Court Realm apertures contained all the chaotic sacred power in his body at his peak, which meant that this single wave of Regal Dragon Sword Chi had consumed equivalent to 300 of his chaotic sacred power at his peak. It could be seen how terrifying the consumption was. When Uriel saw Zhou's Regal Dragon Sword aura, he immediately perceived a sense of threat. He did not dare to be careless. He was not bewitched by the power of a Master God tier, and allowed the attack to land on his incomparably divine body of the Titan gods. Instead, he cast a punch with all his might. At the same time, he added his own law skill to his fist. Law skill, fist shattering the space, Uriel muttered confidently. Even a boundless universe would be forcefully shattered with a punch from this law skill. This was because he was now a pseudo-master God tier elementary grade that the Titans had upgraded at the last minute. Even against an official low-level Master God tier expert, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he would have a certain advantage with his racial talent. Therefore, after this punch, he was confident that he could shatter Zhou's assault, and even kill Zhou. However, in the next moment, a huge black arm mixed with purple light flew up and floated in the dead sea of stars. Uriel stared at his broken arm in a daze. One slash. His arm was actually cut off with just one slash. The divine body of the Titan gods that he was so proud of was actually useless in front of this sword? Lord's Law. After he came back to his senses, he gritted his teeth in fear. Only lords who ruled over everything could do such a thing. In fact, he also yearned to obtain the favor of the Lord's Law and become a Lord's Law-type God spirit. However, it wasn't that easy to comprehend the Lord's Law. He still couldn't even sense the Lord's Law. He could only walk the path of strength and the Hegemon's Law. It's true that the Lord's laws are strong, but how many times can you use such an attack? Uriel ignited his main divine power and regrown a new arm on his broken arm. Then, he advanced at Zhou again and punched him with all his might. Zhou also drew out 300 Divine Court Realm apertures chaotic saint energy from his Divine Court Realm apertures and swung another Regal Dragon Sword Chi at Uriel. Seeing this, Uriel didn't dare to take it head-on and could only hurriedly dodge. However, he, who was locked onto by the Regal Dragon Sword aura, couldn't escape the Regal Dragon Sword aura at all. His arm was severed by the Regal Dragon Sword aura again. Uriel refused to believe it. He expended his divine power. In the blink of an eye, he regenerated a new arm and chased after Zhou in a frenzy. He cast punch after punch at Zhou. Every punch contained extremely astonishing physical strength and nomological power. Sometimes Zhou could dodge, and sometimes he couldn't dodge. He could only use the mountain-bearing roar body armor to take it head-on. When he reacted, he would counterattack with the Regal Dragon Sword aura and cut off a portion of the other party's body. The battle between the two could be stated to be earth-shattering. Every round of battle destroyed countless planets. The universe and the starry sky shook. Such a huge commotion naturally attracted the attention of countless Master God tier and even higher existences. When they saw the battle between the two, they were immediately amazed by Zhou's growth. At the same time, some Master God tiers became even more afraid of Zhou. It had only been a short while, but Zhou had already grasped power comparable to that of a Master God tier. Even if he had only temporarily reached the Master God tier level, by relying on external items, he could not be underestimated. Some Master God tier existences with far-sighted or flexible thoughts had already begun to have some new ideas in their hearts. If the lords of all races really had such astonishing potential, Would the position of the future lord of all races really be born from these lords of all races? Or rather, this common people's regal? If that was the case, they would have to make preparations. They would either invest, take sides, or start setting up plans in advance. In short, they could not continue to wait foolishly. Chapter 11:03 Transforming into the star-devouring dragon god. Killing Uriel in one strike. In the starry sky. Roar. A mountain-bearing roar that was the size of an entire boundless universe stretched across the void. After he let out a shocking titan roar at Uriel, whose expression changed drastically, he saw a wave-like yellowish-brown sound wave envelop Uriel in the blink of an eye. The sound wave contained terrifying Master God tier level power, and it shook Uriel's titan god body, until blood flowed out of his body almost in the blink of an eye. Uriel gritted his teeth and activated his Tyrant Law domain. He retreated tens of millions of light years away, before barely escaping the range of the sound wave. Then, he widened his eyes and looked gloomily at Zhou, who was tens of millions of light years away. Was this the true power of the elementary grade Master God tier item he was wearing? This attack was almost at the peak of Master God tier elementary grade. At the same time, Zhou also felt the mountain-bearing roar body armor fuse into his body. There were still 4 chances left to release such an attack. He could still withstand 40 Master God tier level attacks. Not bad. Even though they had only exchanged blows for a while, Zhou could roughly make a judgment, relying on his current Master God level external means, without using true Master God tier divine artifacts or Master God tier level power. He could barely fight a lower level Master God spirit by relying on these external means. But not for too long. Once the battle went on for too long, his Master God level external items would eventually be used up. At that time, he would only have the combat power of a top-notch true God tier, and would be completely unable to contend against the true power of a Master God tier level. The experiment is over. It's time for a real fight, Zhou said calmly. Uriel, who was about to rush over and continue fighting Zhou, was stunned. Then, he sneered. Still pretending at a time like this? I can already feel that there's not much chaotic sacred power left in your body. Next, you should already be unable to wave that pseudo-Master God tier elementary grade divine artifact in your hand, right? How are you going to fight me now? Uriel sensed Zhou's almost dried up body and sneered. Zhou said nothing. He only activated the power of the king, and extracted the power from the subjects under him. In the blink of an eye, he completely replenished the power he had depleted. In an instant, he had already returned to his peak. A shocking divine might erupted from his body again. In the blink of an eye, it swept through the surroundings and enveloped Uriel, causing Uriel's expression to change. Zhou looked at him calmly. The current him was essentially a low-tier deity-level intermediate-grade god spirit that was infinitely close to a low-tier deity-level advanced-grade god spirit. The law skill king he mastered had also improved greatly. He could already fuse 5% of the subject's power into him. What did 5% mean? After the 10,000 spirit saint, he now had nearly 4 trillion soldiers, more than 11,000 god spirits, and 122 true god tiers under his command. The subjects under his command had already reached nearly 5,000 trillion. 5% of this could completely include the number of true god tier, god spirits, and extraordinary tier soldiers. In addition, it could also absorb the power of nearly 200 trillion ordinary subjects. Such a huge number of subjects was where he had the confidence to replenish his chaotic sacred power. Not to mention releasing 10 regal dragon sword chi. Even if he released 100, or even 1,000 regal dragon sword auras, he was confident that he could maintain an abundant reserve of chaos holy power. So what if you recover your strength? I now truly have the power of a Master God tier level. Furthermore, I can even fight for 10 days without a problem. What about you? Uriel sneered. He was certain that Zhou had limited means, so he felt that he still had the upper hand. Zhou did not say anything. Instead, he took out another bottle of medicine from his king's treasure box. This bottle of potion was dark purple in color. However, This dark purple color was not the color of the Titan blood that Uriel had just used. Instead, it was a dreamy purple that emitted the light of stars. Zhou looked at him. It was as if he could see a star emitting a dark purple light. Moreover, there was a purple dragon sleeping in this star. It had 6 wings, and was more than 10,000 light-years long. It had a crown and horns on its head, a variant of the dragon race, the star-devouring demonic dragon. The bloodline inheritance in Zhou's mind told him the origins of this bottle of dragon blood. And the information of the potion proved that his memory was correct. Potion name: Dragon Transformation Potion. Potion grade: Master God Tier Elementary Grade. Potion effect: after consumption by a true God Tier dragon with dragon bloodline, the dragon can temporarily transform into a dragon mutant. Star-devouring dragon god, temporarily raising its strength to the level of an elementary grade master god. Duration 1 minute. Potion description: originally a true God Tier elementary grade dragon blood potion of a star creation spirit dragon that had fallen into the Scarlet Camp. Later on, after common people's Regal's clone obtained it, it advanced to become a master god elementary grade potion, the Dragon Transformation Potion, through some method. This bottle of potion was obtained by Zhou Manage from a star creation spirit dragon that had been identified as a target by the Eye of the Heaven's anger. If that was all, Zhou wouldn't have paid attention to him. More than one pure-blooded dragon had fallen and joined the Scarlet Camp since ancient times after all. This mere star creation spirit dragon was not eye-catching. However, the key was that Wu Tu's information recorded that this high-tier deity-level advanced grade star creation spirit dragon had a bottle of true God Tier elementary grade dragon transformation potion that could turn it into a true God Tier elementary grade star casting dragon god. After Zhou found out, he immediately thought of taking this bottle of potion. Then, he would use the King of Loots to give himself a bottle of Master God Tier elementary grade dragon transformation potion. From the looks of it, he had indeed not wasted the time and energy of hunting a high-tier deity-level advanced grade pure-blooded dragon. He had really obtained what he wanted. At the same time, Uriel had a bad feeling after Zhou took out the potion. And when he saw Zhou drink the potion, the sense of danger in his heart immediately reached its peak. The next second, boom! A purple sun seemed to be born out of thin air in the sea of stars. The purple sun was comparable to the size of an entire boundless universe, and its surface was burning with a scorching dark purple flame. And in this purple sun, there was a towering purple dragon. The dragon horns on his head resembled a crown. Its entire body was dreamy purple, and it had 6 wings that covered the sky. Its aura was incomparably noble and rebellious. At this moment, he looked at Uriel. That pair of dreamy purple dragon eyes instantly pulled Uriel's will into a boundless universe that was burning with dreamy purple flames. The next second, a bloody mouth descended from the sky and devoured the entire boundless universe. Then Uriel burped as if he was full. Law skill, star-devouring refinement realm. It was the star-devouring dragon god's famous law skill. Not only could it devour the stars and devour the world, it could even forcefully devour the will of a master god tier to replenish itself. After devouring Uriel's will, the star-devouring dragon god closed his eyes. His divine form gradually faded, and the surrounding purple flaming stars also gradually faded. Finally, they completely disappeared, leaving Zhou standing alone in the void. He looked in Uriel's direction. Uriel floated in the starry sky. There were no wounds on his body, but he was no longer breathing. He was dead. Zhou looked at him, and could not help but sigh. There are also differences between Master God tiers. The original form of the star-devouring demonic dragon's blood is probably infinitely close to the tier of the legendary dragon race. Moreover, its attainments in the path of will are even more terrifying. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to kill Uriel in one strike. Zhou thought. Then, he didn't lament for long before summoning Uriel's corpse. He turned around and teleported to the high continent, now that Uriel was dead, and he had used the 10,000 Spirit Saint to create a huge military advantage. This war that had just begun was actually over. Chapter 1104 Titan Divine Domain. Uriel's father. Overlord sacrificed to God. Just as Uriel was killed by the star-devouring dragon god that Jojo had transformed into, in the endless heavens, Titan Divine Domain. This was the territory of the Titan race, and it was also known as the Million Divine Worlds in the outside world. This was because more than 1,000,000 divine worlds gathered here, which meant that there were at least 1,000,000 god spirits in the territory of the Titan gods. In the center of the Titan Divine Domain, there was an incomparably large continent. This place was called the Titan Continent. It was a continent with a territory of trillions of light years. This was the birthplace of the Titans. The first Titan in the endless heavens was born here. At this moment, in the largest forbidden area of the Titan Continent, a group of Titan True God tier were watching the battle between Uriel and Jojo. When they saw Uriel being devoured by the star-devouring dragon god, one of the elderly Titans suddenly roared with bloodshot eyes. "Uriel! My son!" He directly stood up from his throne. His top-notch True God tier advanced grade aura swept across the entire forbidden area. However, when he approached the edge of the forbidden area, he was silently blocked by the array here. The other Titan True God tiers also glared at the scene displayed on the virtual screen. Uriel's lifeless appearance was like a spear that ruthlessly stabbed into their hearts. It was so piercing that their hearts were bleeding. Our Master God tier seed actually died. I didn't expect this common people's regal to still be hiding his strength. Even Uriel, who temporarily has a Master God tier Titan, couldn't deal with him, and was even killed by him. If we don't take revenge, what face do we, the Titans, have to stand tall among the myriad races in the world? Revenge. We must take revenge. All the resources we spent on Uriel were wasted. Common people's regal. The True God tiers of the Titan gods were incomparably furious, causing the sky in the forbidden area to change color. At this moment, the Titan True God tier, named Uzanda, suddenly stood up and flew out of the forbidden area. "Uzanda, where are you going?" The Titans were shocked. They immediately erected a True God tier barrier in front of him and stopped him from asking. "My favorite and proudest child is dead. As a father, I naturally have to avenge him," Uzanda said calmly. "Uzanda." Upon hearing his words, a calm Titan said, "I know you're very sad after losing your son, but as the Lord of all races, as long as you're in the High Continent, you'll have to abide by the Supreme Agreement. After you go over, once you start fighting with the common people's regal, I'm afraid you'll be killed by the Supreme Agreement before the battle ends." "Then wouldn't you be throwing your life away for nothing?" Furthermore, as one of the leaders of the Titan gods, once you get into a conflict with the common people's regal, it's very likely that the Supreme Agreement will think that the Titan gods want to start a war with the common people's regal. At that time, it's very likely that the Supreme Agreement will make a move against the entire Titan gods. You can't drag the entire Titan gods into the abyss just to avenge your child. Uzanda fell silent when he heard this, and the divine aura around him became even more oppressive and violent. "That's right, Uzanda. You're not only representing yourself, you're also representing the entire Titan gods. You can't be emotional." Another True God tier advised earnestly. "We definitely have to take revenge on Uriel, but Big Brother is right. Uzanda, if you want to take revenge, you do not need to be hasty. When the Lord of all races enter the war between the various races in the future, the upper echelons of the races behind us, the Lord of all races, will not have too many restrictions. It won't be too late to take revenge on that common people's regal then." All the Titan True God tiers advised. Everyone at this moment, Uzanda suddenly spoke. He looked at his siblings with a calm expression. "I'm different from you. You have many children, but I only have one son, Uriel. I couldn't advance to a higher level a long time ago, so when Uriel was born, I placed all my effort and time on him. My child has never disappointed me either. He can reach or even surpass the growth goals I set for him every single time. I see him as an extension of my life. The race also sees him as the hope for the future of their race. His Excellency Overlord Sacrifice to God also admires my offspring, and even took my child as his personal disciple. You could say I live for my child. I can't accept the death of my child. He had a ferocious expression. I must slaughter the common people's regal. For this, I won't hesitate even if I have to give up being a member of the Titan Divine clan. With that, he took out his race token and threw it to his brothers and sisters. Then he flew out of the Titan Divine realm without looking back. The Titan True God Tier fell silent. Are we going to let him leave just like that? A Titan True God Tier said. Let him go. He won't be willing to accept it if he doesn't take revenge. I can sense that his heart is already dead. Under such circumstances, no one can change his will. The Titans fell silent. Now that Uzanda has already given up on being a member of our Titan race, it's fine for Uzanda to assassinate the common people's regal. He also has some Master God Tier level trump cards. It's just as well for us to test out more of the common people's regal's methods. This way, when the common people's regal's methods are used up, we can completely slaughter him. The leading Titan True God Tier suddenly uttered in a deep voice. The Titan True God Tiers became even quieter upon hearing this. No one uttered anything to refute him. Now what do we do? After a long silence, a Titan True God Tier spoke. Go meet your Excellency Overlord Sacrifice to God. Uriel is your Excellency's personal disciple. We should report this to your Excellency immediately. The leading Titan True God Tier said. The Titan True God Tiers had no objections, so they all flew towards Overlord Sacrifice to God's divine kingdom. In the high continent, in the skies above the blazing sun kingdom, a total of 5 to 6 trillion soldiers, God spirits, and True God Tiers were fighting intensely and crazily here. In particular, the combat between True God Tier was even more intense. Every move had the power to turn the world upside down. However, they were not JoJo after all. They could not use their Master God Tier level powers wantonly in the high continent. Therefore, each of them had opened up a world to engage in a life and death combat with the enemy True God Tier. At this moment on the battlefield, all kinds of military formations, war machines, special treasures, and all kinds of war-type treasures were displayed on the battlefield. The scene looked not inferior to an ethnicity war, or even a world-destroying war. If not for the fact that the King of the Blazing Sun had the protection of the 9 worlds divine demon Dreamfall array, this spot would probably have been easily destroyed by the nomological attacks that erupted on the battlefield. In terms of battlefield advantage, because JoJo had used the 10,000 Spirit Saint, the Blazing Sun Kingdom was stronger than the people of foreign races in terms of ordinary soldiers, ordinary God spirits, and even True God Tier. Only in terms of war machines and military formations did the people of foreign races have a partial advantage, because they had True God Tier military formations and True God Tier war machines. However, in terms of overall battle, the Blazing Sun Kingdom still held an absolute advantage. Nonetheless, the people of foreign races still had hope in their hearts. As long as their leader, Uriel, could defeat the common people's regal of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, and then return to lead them to counterattack the army of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Under Uriel's lead, they could definitely defeat the powerful troops of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Without the lead of the common people's regal, the Blazing Sun Kingdom's soldiers were at most comparable to a relatively powerful beginner-level Divine Kingdom Lord faction. How could they defeat the people of foreign races led by Master God Tier combatants? Just as the people of foreign races were struggling to hold on with hope, roar! A golden divine dragon descended from the sky and landed in the sky above the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Chapter 1105 True God Tier of the people of foreign races who surrendered. Prepared to extract loots. He was 1,000,000 kilometers tall. He coldly looked down at the battle below with a pair of majestic golden dragon eyes. It was the regal dragon. A handsome man in the Emperor Dragon robe stood there above the Emperor Dragon robe. It was none other than JoJo. He looked at the two parties fighting below and spoke. His voice was dignified and cold. At the same time, Uriel's corpse appeared in front of he out of thin air. Through nomological means, all the parties fighting could see Uriel's corpse. Uriel has been killed by me. All the people of foreign races surrender now. If you don't surrender, I'll definitely kill you." With that, the regal pressure on him instantly swept across the entire battlefield, making all the people of foreign races on the battlefield feel a shocking pressure. Even so, they still looked at Uriel's corpse in front of the common people's regal in disbelief. The regal pressure on him instantly swept across the entire battlefield, making all the people of foreign races on the battlefield feel a shocking pressure. That was the most valued master god tier seed of the Titan gods. It was an existence that would become the pillar of the Titan gods in the future, yet it had actually died at the hands of the common people's regal. The Titans were probably going crazy. Among the people of foreign races, the Titan true god tier, who was also from the Titan gods like Uriel, was in a daze. He and Uriel had accepted the task of eliminating the human race from the upper echelons of the Titan gods and curbing the development speed of the common people's regal. Then, they had come out of the Titan gods together and formed an alliance of people of foreign races. Therefore, he knew very well that as a seed of the Titans, Uriel had accepted this mission only to coat he with a layer of gold and increase his qualifications to accumulate connections and resources for him to become a master god tier in the future. They had never thought that this mission would fail, not to mention dying in this mission. However, Uriel had really died in this war. How was he going to explain this when he returned? With Uriel's death, he, the true god tier of the Titans who accompanied and assisted him, would definitely bear the greatest responsibility. He could already foresee that if he went back, the angry Titans would probably assign him to be imprisoned in the Ice Abyss Demon Prison for 100,000 years soon. That was the most terrifying prison of the Titans. Not many of the Titans who went there returned alive. Even if they did, their strength had decreased drastically, and they were in an extremely bad state. The one who died was Uriel, the future pillar of the Titan gods after all. Even though he was also a true god tier, he was only a true god tier without the potential to advance. A true god tier like he was not considered a powerful figure among the Titans. He was far inferior to a master god tier seed like Uriel. What should I do? He panicked. At this moment, he suddenly thought of something and suddenly looked at Jojo's tall and majestic figure in the sky. Then a look of struggle appeared in his eyes, but he eventually firmed up. At the same time, after Jojo revealed Uriel's corpse and said that the morale of the people of foreign races plummeted, after hesitating for a while, a portion of the people of foreign races began to surrender to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Another portion of the people of foreign races continued to resist fiercely without thinking. It was as if they were unwilling to surrender to Jojo even if they died. The last group of people of foreign races were very smart. Hidden in the battlefield, they silently flew to the edge of the battlefield, wanting to escape. They did not want to surrender, nor did they dare to. This was because their families and forces were all within their respective races. Once news of their surrender to the Blazing Sun Kingdom spread, their bonds would be in danger of being overturned and destroyed. This was because their families and forces were all within their respective races. Once news of their surrender to the Blazing Sun Kingdom spread, their bonds would be in danger of being overturned and destroyed. But how sensitive was Jojo's perception? He noticed these fellows who wanted to escape almost immediately. You did your best when you ambushed this king's capital. You want to escape now that you see that you can't beat me? Do you think you can come and go as you please? Jojo's expression was cold. With a thought, he instilled almost all the remaining power of the star-devouring dragon god in his body into the 9 worlds divine demon dreamfall array. In an instant, the power of this top-notch true god tier array instantly soared, almost reaching the upper limit of this true god tier advanced grade divine artifact. Under the influence of the array formation, these enemies who wanted to escape immediately fell into an endless dream realm and could not extricate themselves. Seeing this, Jojo did not care anymore and turned to Bai Yin to give the order. Bai Yin, destroy all enemies who stubbornly resist. Yes, Your Majesty. After Bai Yin received Jojo's order, she immediately ordered the army to issue a military order to kill all the enemies who were still resisting. After Bai Yin received Zhou Zhou's order, she immediately ordered the army to issue a battle command to kill all the enemies who were still resisting. Even the most composed true god tiers and god spirits like the Yellow Emperor, Buddha Lord, and Patriarch Lu were no exception. With the blessings of the Master God tier of war bestowed by Zhou Zhou, these enemies who were still stubbornly refusing could be considered their food for growth. They could not wait for the more of those who resisted, the better. It wasn't even enough for them to split. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he put away the regal sage Dao sword and returned to the ground, waiting for the conflict to end. More than an hour later, the battlefield gradually quietened down. The troops of the Blazing Sun Kingdom began to clean up the battlefield. Heras came in front of Zhou Zhou. "Greetings, Your Majesty. I have something to report," he uttered respectfully. "What is it?" Zhou Zhou asked. "When we were collecting the conflict resources of the people of foreign races, we discovered a prison of world. There were 12 true god tiers of the people of foreign races imprisoned in it. They uttered that they were forces of the people of foreign races that Uriel had absorbed when he was recruiting troops. Originally, they wanted to join forces with Uriel to attack His Majesty at the beginning. However, after they heard about His Majesty's military strength and heard that they were a weak race and were looked down upon or even humiliated by Uriel, they wanted to conspire to escape from the base of Uriel's faction last night and seek refuge with His Majesty. But in the end, this matter was leaked. Then, they were transferred by Uriel and imprisoned in this realm prison. Your Majesty, how should we deal with them? Those who are willing to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom and become a vassal race of our Blazing Sun Kingdom will be spared. Kill those who don't want to." Zhou Zhou asked. "Yes, Your Majesty," Heras uttered respectfully and turned to leave. Zhou Zhou looked at the Blazing Sun Kingdom troops busying themselves in the sky and knew that they wouldn't be able to finish their work in a short period of time. Hence, he returned to the Divine Kingdom and took out Uriel's corpse, preparing to extract his spoils of war. This companion had many valuables at the true god tier level, and even divine artifacts at the true god tier level. Zhou Zhou was looking forward to the gains he had. Chapter 1106 Uriel's Loot. On the Divine Kingdom world, Zhou Zhou sat on his throne with Uriel's lifeless corpse in front of him. He looked at the corpse and flipped his right hand. A card appeared in his hand. It was the card-type item Sealed Slave's Coffin that he had bought from the Lord Shop. At this moment, the corpse of the Shadow Clan's second true god tier, Jacro, was sealed in this card. When he was needed to fight for him, Zhou Zhou could release he from the card to fight for him. As a high-level true god tier expert, Jacro was completely qualified for Zhou Zhou to use this card. However, as he looked at Uriel's corpse and recalled his astonishing combat strength, he couldn't help but have a new thought. Why don't I take out Jacro and let Uriel enter my deck to become my permanent combat power? Zhou Zhou was deep in thought. Even without the help of that bottle of Master God tier elementary grade true blood, Uriel's own strength could be considered top-notch among the advanced grades of true gods. Among the true god tier experts under him, he could be ranked first. However, after pondering for a while, Zhou Zhou gave up on this idea. After all, compared to Uriel's combat power, the Master God tier divine artifact on him was still more tempting. He stopped thinking and focused on Uriel's corpse. Information about the corpse appeared. Item name: True God tier, Uriel's corpse. Item level: True God tier advanced grade. Item effect: contains unextracted loots. Item description: the Titan God's Master God tier seed. It was originally in existence that had a chance of advancing to the Master God tier level. It had even comprehended the power of will. However, he provoked an enemy that he could not deal with, ultimately leading to his death. Loot explosion rate: 500 True God tier divine artifacts origin crystals drop rate 100%. 50 million origin crystals drop rate 100%. 1 True God tier advanced grade law skill Overlord's Domain drop rate 5%. 1 True God tier advanced grade law skill Fist Shatters the Sky drop rate 5%. 1 True God Tier Advanced Grade Artifact Sacrifice Gauntlet, drop rate, 5%. 1 True God Tier Elementary Grade Divine Artifact Titan Armor, drop rate, 5%. 1 True God Tier Elementary Grade Divine Artifact Titan Holy Tower, drop rate, 5%. 1 High Tier Deity Level Advanced Grade Titan Boots, drop rate, 5%. 1 True God Tier Advanced Grade Negative Sky Giant Divine Spark Fragment, drop rate, 3%. 1 True God Tier Heart of Overlord Divine Spark Fragment, drop rate, 3%. 1 Master God Tier Elementary Grade Hero Inheritance Secret Manual, drop rate, 1%. 1 Master God Tier Elementary Grade Book of the God Spirit, drop rate, 0. 1%. 1 Master God Tier Advanced Grade Titan Bloodline, drop rate, 0. 5%. 1 Drop of the Incomplete True Blood of the Overlord Sacrifice God, drop rate, 0. 3%. 1 Incomplete Method of Condensing the Will of Domination, drop rate, 0.001%. Zhou roughly looked at Uriel's spoils of war, and could not help but click his tongue in wonder. Uriel was indeed the Master God Tier seed of the Titan gods. He had so many treasures on him. There were more than 6,000 God Spirit level treasures. There were also more than 200 True God Tier treasures. Of course, most importantly, he had 3 True God Tier Divine Artifacts. Soon, these 3 True God Tier Divine Artifacts would become 9 Master God Tier Divine Artifacts. There was no hesitation. Zhou chose to extract the loots. Do you want to gather the loot? Do you want to utilize the Race Divine Artifact, Lucky Star, to gather a special loot? Yes, Zhou immediately said. The next second, a text notification appeared. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your spoils of war have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots increased by 150%. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained Perfect Loose, 1,250 Divine Crystals, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 5,000 Origin Crystals, 1 Law Skill, Overlord Domain, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Law Skills Big Destruction Fist, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Master God Tier Divine Artifacts Overlord Glove Set, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Master God Tier Divine Artifact Titan Holy Armor, Master God Tier Elementary Grade, 3 Holy Soul Tower, Master God Tier Elementary Grade, 3 True God Tier Divine Artifact Titan Divine Boots, True God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 copies of Divine Hand of Heaven Divine Spark Fragments, Master God Tier Elementary Grade, 3 Heart of Overlord Divine Spark Fragments Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Hero Inheritance Secret Manual, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Book of the God Spirit, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Titan God Race Bloodline, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 drops of complete True God Tier Overlord Blood, 3 complete copies of Overlord's Will Condensation Technique, Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Lucky Star Notification. You have obtained a special loots, Overlord Martial Arts, Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou glanced at these gains, and a smile popped up on his face. With the support of the King of Loots and the Strongest Lord, he directly obtained more than 18,000 True God Tier treasures, more than 600 Master God Tier treasures, and 9 Master God Tier Divine Artifacts. It was a huge profit. Then, he began to inspect the loots. Needless to say, there were Divine Crystals and Origin Crystals. He directly glanced at the Master God Tier Law Skill, Overlord's Domain. Law Skill Name, Overlord Domain, Law Skill Quality, Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Law Skill Introduction 1. Control the Hegemon's Law and make yourself the Lord of Laws within a certain radius. If you are in a boundless universe, you can even temporarily replace the will of the world in the boundless universe, and make your own will become the will of the world, leading the world to change to the Hegemon's Law. During the period of becoming a Lord of Laws, the overall ability quality of an Overlord had increased by 1,000%. It could also dominate most of the laws within the domain, and suppress any God Spirit domain of the same level other than the Lord's Law God Spirit. All living beings within the range of the laws of the Lord of Tyranny, as long as their strength was below the Master God tier level. Their lives would be at the whim of the Lord of Tyranny. The Lord of Tyranny could even turn all living beings within the range of the laws into his fanatic believers with a thought. Law Skill Introduction 2. When the Overlord unleashes his Overlord domain, the Overlord can be immune to any charm-type abilities below the Master God tier advanced grade. Moreover, his divine body and soul will maintain an indestructible state. Unless the Overlord can't maintain his domain, no external damage can harm the Overlord at all. Law Skill Introduction 3. When the Overlord unleashes the Overlord domain, the Overlord will be forcefully raised to the unparalleled level in the martial arts realm. No life form below the Master God tier will be able to defeat the Overlord in the martial arts domain. Law Skill Introduction 4. When the Overlord unleashes the Overlord domain, the morale of the soldiers in the Overlord domain will be maintained at its peak, and the combat strength of their own military formation will increase by 10,000%. Zhou clicked his tongue. What a terrifying Overlord domain. This was at least 10 times stronger than the Master God tier advanced grade law skill. Lord of Tyranny, Chapter 842. They were both domain skills, but the difference was too great. He suppressed his excitement and glanced at the next law skill. Chapter 1107 Master God tier Divine Artifact, Overlord Fist. Master God tier Divine Artifact, Titan Divine Armor. Law Skill Name, Big Destruction Fist. Law Skill Quality, Master God tier Advanced Grade. Introduction to Laws and Skills. After the Overlord fuses the law of martial arts, the law of hegemony, and the law of power into himself, and expands the Overlord domain, the Overlord will enter the Overlord form, causing the original law to descend, making himself one of the three major powers. The incarnation of the law in the world, the Overlord who enters the state of supremacy, has the power to destroy the world with every punch and kick. Very few Master God tier in the world could withstand the attack of an Overlord. In the Master God tier realm, an Overlord was almost invincible. After reading it, Zhou could not help but take a deep breath. Each punch and kick had the power to destroy the boundless universe? Didn't that mean that the other party's casual move was comparable to the full power of a Master God tier existence's Master God tier law skill? Moreover, he said that the Overlord was almost invincible. What a high rating! Zhou exclaimed. A Master God tier that could block or even suppress an Overlord-level existence was probably only a Lord-level Master God tier, right? From the law skill information, the reason why this Overlord's Overlord form is so powerful is because he has fused the laws of Overlord, Strength, and Martial Tao. Ordinary true God tiers only need to completely comprehend one of the nomological laws and use it to build their own boundless universe to become Master Gods. And this Overlord can actually comprehend three laws and fuse them into one. There's a reason why this Overlord form is so terrifying. Zhou sighed. Then, he didn't think too much about it. He skipped over the true God-level law skills and looked at the first Master God Advanced Grade Divine Artifact, Overlord's Glove. Divine Artifact Name, Overlord's Gloves. Divine Artifact Grade, Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Divine Artifact Nomological Law 1. Fist is everything. The Overlord's gloves use supreme overbearing techniques to suppress most laws. When attacking the enemy, it could weaken or even nullify the enemy's nomological attacks. Even Master God tier nomological powers were no exception. It could even weaken a small portion of Supreme God realm attacks. At the same time, the owner of the Overlord Fist Glove can change the nomological attacks they release to other types of nomological attacks through the Overlord Fist Glove, restraining the enemy's attack and defense. Divine Artifact Nomological Law 2, Domineering Heavens. The owner of the Overlord's Glove condenses all his strength and unleashes a full-strength punch with the power of a Supreme God realm. It can kill all existences at the Master God level. After using the Overlord Heavens, not only would the owner of the Overlord Fist Glove be weakened for a long time, but even the Overlord Fist Glove would suffer a certain amount of wear and tear. One needed to defeat enemies of the same level or absorb materials from Master God tier divine artifacts of the same attribute to recover their wear and tear. Divine Artifact Nomological Law 3. The Origin of Hegemony. The Overlord's gloves contain the complete origin of the law of hegemony. The owner of the main artifact can enter it with his soul and understand the mystery of the law of hegemony at any time. Divine Artifact Nomological Law 4. I am the Overlord. The owner of the Overlord gloves, when facing the attack of a stronger person and the siege of most creatures, can burst out with stronger combat power, defeat the enemy as an Overlord or die in battle. Prompt. Only an existence that has mastered the Overlords can recognize this Master God tier divine artifact as its master. When Zhou saw the effects of this Master God tier divine artifact, especially when he saw the effects of the second divine artifact law, his pupils couldn't help but constrict. It could actually unleash a Supreme God realm attack. Even if it was just one strike, it was already incredible. He took a deep breath and muttered, as expected of a Master God tier advanced grade divine artifact with the Hegemon law, its power is indeed extraordinary. Even among all Master God tier divine artifacts, this Master God tier divine artifact can be considered one of the top Master God divine artifacts, right? However, even though this Overlord Law Master divine artifact was very powerful, the conditions for he to use it were extremely harsh. An existence that has mastered the Overlords can only recognize this Master God tier divine artifact as its master. Willpower is already very difficult to comprehend. This Master God tier divine artifact also requires one to specially comprehend a specific willpower. Zhou shook his head. This Master God tier divine artifact would probably not be able to find a suitable master for a long time. Even if it was Zhou, he should be able to forcefully control this Master God tier divine artifact with the Supreme Lord Law. It was definitely not today. This was a top-notch Master God tier advanced grade divine artifact after all. He probably had to advance to the true God tier level before he could barely control this Master God tier divine artifact with the chaotic sacred power and the law skill king. And he was only a low-tier deity level intermediate grade God spirit. This divine artifact would probably be buried for a long time. Zhou joggled his head and put away this Master God tier advanced grade divine artifact. Then, he pulled himself together and looked at the other two Master God tier elementary grade divine artifacts. These two Master God tier divine artifacts. Perhaps I can use them? The first Master God tier divine artifact was the Titan Divine Armor. This Titan armor was completely grayish-black in color. In the center of the armor was an extremely obvious statue of the Titan god race, with his eyes closed. There were hideous grayish-black blades on his surface. They were like close-fitting combat weapons. Even if he didn't touch them personally, others would feel a stinging pain in their eyes when they looked at him. They would feel an obvious chill run down their spines. Zhou looked at the Titan with his eyes closed, and felt that he looked familiar. It was as if he had seen him in the bloodline inheritance of a certain race. Soon he remembered. Is this the first Titan of the Titan gods, Titan? Zhou hesitated. Titan's homonym was Titan. It was precisely because of the name of Titan's ancestor that the Titans named their race Titan. Without further conjecture, he looked over. Name of the divine artifact. Titan Divine Armor. Divine Artifact Grade. Master God tier elementary grade. Divine Artifact Law 1, Titan Ancestral Skeleton. The main material for casting the Titan Divine Armor is the bones of the Titan ancestor, the first Titan of the Titan Protoss. When the owner wore the Titan Divine Armor, they could suppress 30% of the Titan God's strength. There was a very small chance that the descendants of the Titans would submit to the Titans and become the new king of the Titans. Divine Artifact Law 2, Immortal Titan. When the owner of the Titan Divine Armor wears the Titan Holy Armor, he will have an immortal body that is immune to most lower-level attacks by the Master God tier, and is also immune to attacks at the Master God tier intermediate grade. At the same time, when wearing the Titan Divine Armor, the possessor would possess an extremely astonishing divine body recovery ability, divine soul recovery ability, and divine power recovery ability, with the help of the Titan's divine power. Divine Artifact Law 3, Titan power. The Titan god race is the most powerful race among the billions of races in the endless universe. Creatures wearing the Titan divine armor will have the terrifying power of the Titan ancestors. Divine Artifact Law 4. The Origin Power. The Overlord's gloves contain the complete origin of the Law of Hegemony. The owner of the main artifact can access it with his soul and understand the mystery of the Law of Hegemony at any time. Prompt. Only an existence that has mastered the Overlords can acknowledge this Master God tier divine artifact as its master. Zhou raised his brows slightly after reading the information on this Master God tier elementary grade divine artifact. As expected, it's a Master God tier divine artifact forged from the corpse of Titan's ancestor. Tisk. The effect of this Titan's ancestral corpse is nearly comparable to a race's divine artifact. Zhou's expression was a little strange. He wondered what expression the Titan god race would have when he appeared in front of them in this Titan divine armor in the future. It should be extremely interesting. He joggled his head and looked at the next Master God tier divine artifact. Chapter 1108 Master God tier elementary grade divine artifact. Sacred Soul Tower. Heart of Overlord. Divine artifact name, Sacred Soul Tower. Divine artifact grade, Master God tier elementary grade. Divine artifact Law 1. Level 1 Holy Soul Blessing. After recognizing the Holy Soul Tower as its owner, the Holy Soul Tower will settle in the origin of the user's soul and protect the user's soul and will. Divine artifact Law 2. Level 2 Holy Soul Blessing. The strength of the life form that owns and uses the Holy Soul Tower will continue to increase until it reaches the Strength Master God tier advanced grade. Divine Artifact Law 3. Level 3 Holy Soul Blessing. Use the power of the soul or willpower to activate the Holy Soul Tower. The Holy Soul Tower will protect all living beings in the Lord's faction under its control from divine soul attacks and willpower attacks of true God level and below. Divine Artifact Law 4. Level 4 Holy Soul Blessing. The user activates the Holy Soul Tower and launches a Master God tier level elementary grade attack to attack the enemy's soul and shake the enemy's will. Divine Artifact Law 5. The Origin of Hegemony. The Overlord's gloves contain the complete origin of the Law of Hegemony. The owner of the main artifact can enter it with his soul and understand the mystery of the Law of Hegemony at any time. Prompt. It can recognize its master. The lowest level is the will-like light realm. Zhou raised his eyebrows. When he saw the name of this Master God tier divine artifact, he thought that this might be a Master God tier divine artifact. But what he didn't expect was that this Master God tier divine artifact also had the ability to defend against will attacks, and even launch will attacks. Top-grade defensive divine artifact. Especially when I face other Master God tier enemies in the future. Zhou was deep in thought, even though he had just defeated the fake Master God tier Uriel. But what was fake. There was definitely a certain gap between it and the real one. When he truly fought the Master God tier, this Master God tier divine artifact would be of great help to him. Then, he stopped thinking about it. He looked at the two Master God tier divine artifacts and picked up the Titan divine armor. He entered it with his will and attempted to recognize it as his master. As his will had long reached the will-like light realm, he quickly recognized him as his master. Zhou took a deep breath. Next was the most critical moment. He activated the Law Skill King and raised his strength to the level of a top-notch true God tier advanced grade that was infinitely close to a Master God tier. Then, he injected his chaotic sacred power into this Master God tier divine artifact. In the end, after he injected all of his chaotic sacred power into it, he realized that this Master God tier divine artifact only trembled slightly, and then there was no reaction at all. Not only was Zhou not discouraged, his eyes also lit up. There's a chance. He immediately replicated the power from the subjects under himself through the king and replenished his chaotic sacred power. Then, he injected his chaotic sacred power into this Master God tier divine artifact again. After he injected all the power that the king could replicate into the Titan divine armor, this Master God tier divine artifact quietly faded away and disappeared. At the same time, it appeared on his body. As soon as it appeared on his body, Zhou felt a terrifying power that seemed to be able to tear apart the heavens and the earth, augmenting him. It even gave him the illusion that even if a boundless universe was in front of him, he would be able to forcefully tear it apart. No, it was not an illusion. With the Titan divine armor augmenting his body with the power of the Titan ancestor, the power that he currently grasped was no longer inferior to any Master God tier of the Titan God race of the same level. In fact, he had even surpassed them. He could indeed tear apart a boundless universe, but it would take some time. Other than the power that could tear the sky and the earth apart, Zhou also felt that his divine recovery ability, divine soul recovery ability, and chaotic sacred power recovery ability had also improved astonishingly. In addition, the efficiency of his comprehension of the law of strength had also increased greatly. He felt that he was like the darling of the law of strength in the real world. He could easily comprehend the law of strength. In fact, if he wanted to use the law of strength to become a true God tier, or even a Master God tier, it wouldn't be difficult with his heaven-defying comprehension ability and the origin of the law of strength that came with the Titan divine armor. Still, even though this Titan divine armor was very powerful, it was not without flaws. What Zhou felt the most was that the chaotic sacred power consumed by this Master God tier divine artifact was too fast. At this moment, he could clearly feel that the chaos holy power that he had instilled into this Master God tier elementary grade divine artifact was beginning to be consumed at an astonishing speed. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, 4 breaths, 5 breaths. 5 breaths later, the chaotic sacred power in Zhou's body suddenly disappeared. Even the divine power and magic power of the trillion subjects that he represented had been consumed by him. He had no way of recovering his chaotic sacred power through the king. This consumption is too terrifying. Zhou clicked his tongue. From the looks of it, the consumption of the pseudo-master god tier elementary grade divine artifact, the regal sage Dao sword, that he had just used was not as high as the consumption of the Titan divine armor. Perhaps this was the difference between a pseudo-master god tier and a true master god tier divine artifact? Zhou guessed. Then, he tried the Holy Soul Tower, a master god tier elementary grade divine artifact. It didn't end well either. If he only used the Holy Soul Tower's level 1 Holy Soul blessing, it could last for about a day without enduring external attacks. However, once he activated the level 2 Holy Soul blessing to increase the strength of his divine soul, the consumption of this master god tier divine artifact would suddenly double. It could only last for half a day. When he activated the level 3 Holy Soul blessing to protect his subjects from the enemy's soul attack, it could only last for about 15 minutes. As for the level 4 attack method, it could only be activated for a second. And in this second, he couldn't even fully release this attack. Looks like I won't be able to truly possess the combat power of a master god tier in a short period of time. I can only rely on those one-time use or multiple use treasures as my master god tier methods. Zhou pondered. Fortunately, after this battle with Uriel, he should have nothing to worry about as long as he did not provoke any divine kingdom lords on the high continent. Even if he couldn't control the master god tier divine artifact for the time being, he shouldn't be in any danger for the time being. As long as I can have the ability to use the master god tier divine artifact normally before the Supreme will carries out the battle type activities of the myriad worlds, it'll be in time. Zhou thought. Then, he directly ignored the true god tier divine artifacts behind him and looked at the master god tier law skills behind him. The master god tier advanced grade law skill, Skyholding God's Hand, was a power type law skill. His master was the famous law skill of the Overlord God Lord. The Overlord God Lord relied on this move to suppress countless powerful enemies, and even blocked the Supreme God Realm attack used by an enemy master god tier head-on. It might be said to be a law skill that could both attack also defend. As considering the other master god tier advanced grade law skill, Heart of Overlord, It surprised Jojo. This became because not only might this move allow the owner to ignore Master God tier level charm, mental demons, and other mental attacks, and majority importantly, at the end of this lost skill, if one completely comprehended this heart of Overlord, there became a chance of comprehending the Overlord's will. This became actually a nomological skill that might assist God spirits in comprehending willpower. Jojo became pleasantly surprised. Chapter 1109 The Overlord God Lord's Inheritance. Absorbing the Titan God race bloodline. Compared to this, even the fact that he could use the Overlord's will to recognize a Master God tier divine artifact as its master didn't surprise him as much. It was extremely difficult to comprehend will after all, even for someone as talented as Uriel. It was only when he forcibly expended his potential to reach the pseudo-Master God tier level, before he died, that he barely managed to pierce through the veil and comprehend the power of will. And now, he actually had 3 copies of Heart of Overlord. In other words, he could completely create 3 will comprehensions. That would be 3 Master God tier seeds. Jojo's eyes lit up at the thought of this. As for himself, he naturally did not need to learn it. With the Law Skill King around, if his subjects learned it, it would be equivalent to him learning it. Then what was the point of learning it? Wasting resources. Who among my subordinates is most suitable to comprehend the Overlord's will? Jojo fell into deep thought. He only had 3 copies of Heart of Overlord. He had to distribute them properly. 3 names appeared in his mind as he thought about it. Wuxia, Qi Xiantian, and Imperial Lord Pengu. As the first Dragon Slayer subject under him, the fearlessness in Guoqiao's bloodline was known by everyone in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Guoqiao had never been afraid of enemies that others were afraid of. Guoqiao didn't even ask about the enemies that others didn't dare to fight. He raised his axe and attacked. Their main target was the reckless sky-boundless land. Everyone thought that Guoqiao was a battle maniac. However, Jojo felt that this courage of not being afraid of anyone matched the essence of the Overlord's will. Perhaps after Guoqiao obtained the Heart of Overlord, it would be easier for him to comprehend the Overlord's will and become a true Master God tier seed. As for Qi Xiantian, he walked the path of creating all techniques with a single strike. Sword cultivators who walked this path needed to have extremely high willpower. This willpower was close to the willpower of an Overlord, so Jojo chose to give him a portion. As for Imperial Lord Pengu, there was even less of a need to mention him. Imperial Lord Pengu walked the path of the law of strength to begin with. Furthermore, it was the most violent path of breaking all laws with one force. In the entire human race, no one was more suitable for the Heart of Overlord than Imperial Lord Pengu. Give it to Guoqiao and Qi Xiantian in a while. As for Imperial Lord Pengu, it's not too late to give it to him when he wakes up. Jojo thought. As the master of the human race, he understood the morals of Imperial Lord Pengu. Therefore, he already regarded Pengu as his clansman in his heart. Therefore, he did not have any stingy thoughts in this aspect. Then, he looked at the Book of the God Spirit and the Hero Inheritance. Treasure name: Book of the God Spirit. Treasure grade: Master God tier advance grade. Treasure effect: a mythical book that records the path of Overlord God Sangyu. After using it, one can walk the path of Overlord God. Treasure description: Book of God Inheritance. After using it, you can walk on a smooth path to becoming a god. But whether you can really become a god in the end depends on the user himself. Treasure name: Hero Inheritance Secret Manual. Grade: Master God tier advance grade. Treasure ability: after using it, you can obtain the inheritance of the strongest Overlord, Sangyu. Introduction: Enemies of all races? What's there to be afraid of? Strong Overlord, Sangyu. It's indeed the Overlord God's divine inheritance and hero inheritance. Jojo nodded. He had already guessed this when he saw the previous loots. Keep it for now. In the future, if Imperial Lord Pengu is willing to become my worshipped God spirit, I'll give these 2 inheritances to him. Perhaps I can immediately increase the combat power of a true Master God tier here? Zhou thought. His territory was currently lacking a true Master God tier combat power. He could at most be considered a pseudo-Master God tier now. It was still not safe. Then, he looked at the bloodline of the Titan God race that belonged to a Master God tier advanced grade. They were 3 deep purple hearts that emitted a terrifying aura. Just by looking at them from afar, one could feel the majestic blood energy contained in them. He grasped one up and selected to absorb it. You have absorbed one portion of the Titan God race's bloodline, Master God tier advanced grade. Your Chaos human bloodline has been unearthed with more potential. Your 6 senses powers have been greatly enhanced. Your parapsychic ability has been greatly enhanced. You have awakened the Master God tier advanced grade enhanceable talent race, Titan God body. You have awakened the Master God tier advanced grade enhanceable talent race, Titan God Herculean power. You have awakened the Master God tier advanced grade enhanceable talent race, Titan Sky tearing claw. You have grasped the Titan God race's common sense inheritance. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the Titan God race. Congratulations! You have completed the adulthood ceremony of the chaotic human race. The will of chaos, which has fallen for countless years, has sensed your existence and sent you an ancient guidance. You have comprehended the Overlord's will. Will like light. Zhou blinked. He could not help but laugh. It was actually so easy to comprehend the Overlord's will. It saved him the hassle of taking advantage of his subordinates. I can try to understand this Overlord's will more. Perhaps it can allow my will to reach a higher level. Zhou was profound in thought. He had been stuck at the realm of will like light for a long time. Comprehending this Overlord's will, coupled with the experience he had previously obtained in will cultivation, might allow him to understand by analogy and have a deeper understanding of how to advance to a higher level of will. Then, he gazed at the 3 drops of Overlord God's true blood. Treasure name, Overlord God's true blood. Treasure grade, Master God tier advanced grade. Treasure effect, a treasure from the Overlord God's main body. After devouring it, it can temporarily raise one's strength to the Master God tier elementary grade. Duration, 100 seconds. Treasure description. Overlord God's true blood was originally left by him to protect his confidant. Later it fell into the hands of the common people's regal. Zhou nodded slightly after reading it. Then the Overlord God's true blood was really not bad. Coupled with the various Master God tier techniques he had mastered, even a true Master God tier elementary grade existence should not be able to hurt him. Even though there were only 3 drops of true blood, it should be enough for the time being. Then he gazed at the last loot. It was also the only loots extracted from Lucky Star. It was an extremely rare martial arts manual. Martial Arts Secret Manual. Overlord Martial Arts, Secret Manual Quality. Master God tier advanced grade. Cultivation Effect 1. The strongest martial arts. Overlord God summarizes his lifetime of combat experience and cultivation experience. He summarizes the strongest martial arts manuals below the Supreme God realm, after reading all the martial arts manuals in the world. Living beings who have totally mastered the Overlord martial arts will automatically advance to the strongest martial arts constitution. Heavenly Martial God Body. Cultivation Effect 2. Martial Overlord. When an Overlord martial cultivator fights with other martial cultivators, the Overlord martial cultivator will automatically absorb the advantages of the enemy's battle and abandon the shortcomings of the battle between the 2 sides. It will make its martial arts stronger. Moreover, after winning the battle, it can permanently increase its constitution, comprehension, potential, and bloodline. It can even nurture the birth of will. Cultivation Effect 3. Martial Tao Holy Sun. The Overlord Martial Tao is the elaboration method of the origin of the Martial Tao laws. Cultivators themselves are doted on by the Martial Tao laws. After the cultivator ends the battle, it's easier for them to enter a state of enlightenment and comprehend more powerful martial arts techniques. At the same time, cultivators will obtain a 50% increase in physical defense. Cultivation Effect 4. The origin of the martial arts law. Overlord Martial Tao records the cultivation and comprehension method of the martial arts law. Cultivators can totally master the entire martial arts law by cultivating the Overlord Martial Tao. Cultivation Effect 5. Martial arts suppresses the world. Martial artists who cultivate the Overlord martial art can suppress all martial artists who have not cultivated the Overlord martial art in the myriad worlds. Martial artists who cultivate the Overlord martial art at the same time are more likely to produce martial arts geniuses in their forces. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.